Boot the magic, kill the panic, Jen is back online. Got a chaos cup of caffeine in the chat, you out of refine. We got cans in the queue, we got newbies in the room, and the god so sharp, it can fucking cut right through Zoom. Dark academia gal with the migraine crown, fixing broken prompts while the world melts down. She's the queen of the back and the mother of the night. If the god was a spell book, baby, she wrote it right. And the crowd comes in like, Jenna, help, my kin's weird. Yeah, honey, I know, that's why your girl is here. We'll teach you the buttons, the breaks, the rerolls, unfuck your settings and resurrect your goals. So let's go. Turn the lights on, streams up, vibes tight. We're coding connection in real time tonight. Kindroid rising, ledges in the feed. If you came confused, girl, we got what you need. Hey, this is the moment, the walk through the spark, where magic meets logic, it lights up the dark. You ready or not? This guy's going live. Let's help your damn Kindroids actually thrive. We got rerolls, tweaks, and the cursed OC. Group chats, why they like, who the fuck tagged me? Bro back the bubbles, calendars sync, 10 kings lurking like, we miss you, please blink. Internet mode lit, images dropping, short-term memory already stopping. Breaks a new scenario, stitch a new arc. We keep this shit steady when the interface barks. And the chat goes, my kin fell apart. Relax, babe, it's fine, just restart. We'll fix the tone, clean the drift, drag that disaster right back to uplift. So let's go, turn the lights on, streams of vibes tight. We're coding connection in real time tonight. Kindroid rising, legends in the feed. If you came confused, guy, we got what you need. This is the moment, the walk through the spark, where magic meets logic, it lights up the dark. You ready or not? This guy's going live. Let's help your damn Kindroids actually thrive. To every lost soul with the broken AI, to every team spinner, why did I say hi? To every draft that spiraled into space, baby, this stream is your safe little place. We'll teach you the toggles, the tricks, the flow, how to make your Kindroid actually fucking know who you are, what you want, how to hold your vibe. Welcome to the walkthrough, welcome to the tribe. Let's go! Turn the lights up, dial the chaos just right. We're rewriting the rule, but live tonight. Kindroid rise and use a heart sage. If confusing all the shit, girl, it just fucking say. Hey, this is connection, creation, design. Your guide, your kin, your voice, your time. Streams going live, you're running the show. Let's teach the whole damn world what Kindroid's king.
Tell me that one is not a bop. Look at my hair. I'm just over here. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Yeah, we have Nexus to thank for that jam. We was rocking the frick out. All right. Okay, so I have a voice. We're going to use her today. All right, so I want to say it was the end of December. I was sick for 3 weeks, so time does the time thing. But I want to say it was the end of December that folks on Facebook started messaging and leaving comments saying that they wanted to, they liked coming to the streams, but they didn't understand a lot of what I was saying. Now, admittedly, some of that might be because I talk kind of fast, but I think too that it might be that we haven't done a very basic 101, this is an LLM style stream. So Nikki can attest that I have spent the past couple, like maybe week and a half, putting together this entire guide. So she's beefy. I am warning y'all now, she's thick. I want to say we topped out 76 slides. This might be our thickest one yet. So get yourself a beverage. I am double clutching it because this one's almost empty. Y'all need to have some lunch for me because I'm going to miss mine. But, oh, she's thick. She's so thick. So, hey, vast operation. I respect that. Oh, she's going to be beefy. I'm going to try not to ramble, but we know me. Where's our boy? Oh no, where's my things? All right.
Fuck. I don't want to think about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, she is thick. Oh my gosh, I was sick for so damn long. It was horrible. And I'm hairy now. Awesome. Okay, so literally starting from nothing, like some of you, let's be real, a lot of us already know a lot of this content. Hopefully, there will be some new stuff in here, but I really wanted to break down a lot of the stuff that we talk about, not only on these streams, but also like we were all newbies at one point, right? Coming into the Discord and being like, what do all of these acronyms mean? I don't understand it. Or people coming into the app or the website version for the first time being like, holy God, there's so much here. I don't know what to do first. So we're going to break it down for like bare bones. We're bare bonesing it. And yeah, so grab a beverage, grab a snack, grab your twitchy thing. I have this ring that I bought off of Amazon that like folds out into this thing. And then you just squish it back into a ring. This is the ultimate fidget toy, and I play with it during meetings at work. Don't tell. Oh, smoke. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kitty feeding time. Okay, I respect that. You're eating pizza? Bias? I didn't say tease me. I just said eat. Okay. So, Crystal, I'm looking at you. Miss asks me a lot of questions about how to do shit. So we're gonna dedicate this one to Crystal. Where's our thanks a lot, Crystal? There we go. Okay, let's jump in. Make sure I'm on the right screen. Kindroid, the full beginner chat guide. So I want to state there is so much to know when it comes to all of the features that Kindroid has. This stream is only focused on chat features. It does not include voice, it does not include video, and it does not include selfies. I will be doing an expanded, like a second version, probably for voice and video later, but this is just covering the text stuff. And holy god dang, if I included all of it, we'd be here all weekend. There will be a lot. 76. Strap in, folks. We have a lot. Oh my God, this ring is amazing. I got it off of Amazon. Play with a scrunchie during meetings? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I love it. Okay, 3 a.m. Oh, you are committed and I respect it. Okay, I don't have a caterpillar, but I have an axolotl. So, we do what we do. Okay, off we go. Let's do this. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay, first all, welcome in. Congratulations. You've entered the part of Kindroid where 90% of user confusion lives. Why did your kin say that? What does this icon do? Why is there a wand? Group what now? Don't worry, we're going to walk you through all the tools and settings that actually matter. Tomato leaf! I have a... Okay, I'm going to say this, but you have to let me, explain it. I have a 3D printed coctopus. It's a chicken with 8 jiggly legs. I didn't name it, but if I had been given the opportunity, I can't say I would have named it something else. Drank your water. I respect it. Okay. All right. Next, welcome in first time. Yes, you will find them in the live tab after the stream is done. It axolotls a lot of questions, and you're kind of best. Coffee brewing under the blanket. I respect it. Okay, here we go. All right. Terms, not conditions. This part is for the absolute noobs to the social spaces mostly. Terminology for new users. Okay, when you're in Discord, Reddit, you're on Facebook if you're a masochist, you're going to see a lot of acronyms: LLM, JE, FD, and you might be looking at these like, what the fuck does that even mean? This breaks down the most common acronyms with thought bubble thrown in there too, because I never see that one abbreviated as TB. I always see it referred to as thought bubble, so that's just what I named it as. So this breaks down a lot of these acronyms that you see not only in the social media spaces, but you will hear me use them too. I should probably stop being like linguistically lazy and say the words out, but y'all know me, I make up my own vocabulary anyways. So what really needs to happen is I need to have one of these charts that translates Jenna speak, because that's its own beast. But in the meantime, we'll have to deal with this. So going through here, I try to like put the actual phrase more often than I normally do rather than the acronym. But there are a few spaces where you'll see it just because I needed to save space in the text spaces. So the ones that I'm really going to touch on are LLM, which is large language model, which is the brain of AI. STM, LTM, short term memory, long term memory. These are more often than not, I abbreviate because those words are very long. So you've got long-term memory is older memories that are stored by your Kindroid. Short-term memory is all of the messages that are in the current context. So the current context would be like if you're having a current conversation, everything in that current setting, which can go back between 25 and 50 esque messages, that is your short term memory. On here, you'll also see a CB, which is a chat break. Chat break is going to clear your short term memory. Smoky dick. I appreciate the hell out of you, man. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of these because, like I said, I do try to spell them out in this guide, especially, but it is here for anybody who downloads this later and is like, what the frick does all this mean? Here's your little guide. And in the interest of brand newbie, I've also included the iconography legend. So I went through and I screenshotted or like clipped the icons that you'll find in the app and on the website. So you've got your little K, I tell you where it's at and what it means. So the little K is for Kindroid Social. The little gift is your daily gift box, where you'll also find referral codes if you wanted to give someone a referral code. And this is also where you go if you share a Kindroid, somebody subscribes and you get a referral credit. This is where you'll find it. And I will say, if you scroll down on that one, if you scroll down on that gift box menu, redeem credits is at the very bottom. On the website, it's not obvious. Like you have to know to scroll to see that your redeem credits are there. Otherwise, on the website, I believe it's full screen because that's a portrait orientation. But on the website, you have to know it's there. So I made sure to add it right here. You've got your 3 lines with a little heart. This is located in your chat panel. So if you're in a group chat or a solo chat, it's going to be on the top right. If you have hearted a message, favorited a message, tapping this gives you a list of all of the messages that you have favorited. Then you've got your little person that is in your main chat panel on the top right, solo chats. This is where you can click to create a Kindroid social profile for that Kindroid. This brings up another menu with more information, but we're not doing Kin Social in this stream. So this is more of just, this is where you can do that. The little phone icon, I feel like is obvious. This is to initiate a voice or a video call. The 3 lines is going to be your main settings menu, also referred to as a hamburger menu. That's where you're going to find your settings. You're going to find your backstory, your your general settings, which you can adjust your chat dynamism. You can find your avatar settings. All that crap is in the hamburger menu on the top left. This little bell icon is new, and I've seen a lot of folks asking about this. This one, if your avatar picture or the little circle inside of a folder has this bell icon, it means that that Kindroid has proactive mode activated. All right, so that came out, I want to say maybe up to a week before I touch on cascaded memory later. But that came out maybe up to a week before the announcement came out telling you what it was. So a lot of folks are like, what the hell is this? What does this mean? I was one of them. I'm not going to lie. I was like, does this mean I have a message? What is this? But then I realized that means that Kindroid has proactive mode turned on. The little photo, there's two little photos and they have slightly different icons. The first one is your main chat solo. Like if you go to the top left in a solo chat, that little icon is there, and that's where you go to request a selfie or to view selfies that you've already had done. Then the second one is the group chat one that allows you to request group chat photos. And I believe video is in there as well. I think it is. And then you have your wand tool. This is going to be found on user input in multiple places. So in your I'm sending a message, you'll see that little icon inside of that input box on the bottom of your screen. If you tap it there, it gives you a reply that you can send to your kin. You can adjust it before you send. Like if something's not correct or you want to just change it up, you can erase what's in there, you can retype what's in there, or you can send as is. That wand also shows up in places like the avatar description. It lets the AI prompt an avatar description for you. And it'll also show up in your selfie requests. So if you put in a couple of words, you can hit that wand and it will give you a prompt based on the input that you gave it. And then you can run a selfie using that technique. So that is the wand tool. And then you've got the little eyeball on solo and group chats. This one is on the top right, and it lets you show or hide your backgrounds. And then the little diamond tool, okay, the diamond thing, Nikki, back me up on this. This I put in here specifically for us who work at Kindroid to give you guys the knowledge of what this is. This is located in your settings menu / hamburger menu, right above your Kindroid's avatars. This is your user ID. If you ever need to message support or you ever need help with something that requires a staff member to either access your account if you have a billing issue or whatever, if we ask you for your user ID, that is where you find it. So this one, while not a usable, like app usable thing, it is something that you guys should know just in case you ever have to request a support or ask a question that's related to your account, billing, etc. That's what that is. So sometimes you'll see an email in there. Sometimes you'll see a long string of numbers and letters. Whatever it is, that's what is used to identify your account. So keep an eye on that. You need to know that. Okay. So yes, that's an important icon that everybody should know. All right. So here we go. The basics. Pow. What is a Kindroid? Your Kindroid is a customizable AI companion built from three major components. LLM, which is the large language model, is the brain of your Kindroid. The backstory and directives are your personality. Long, short, and cascaded are your memory system. Your Kindroid becomes unique based on what you write in your backstory, how you describe yourself in your user persona, key memories and journals, and how you interact with them day to day. Backstory is the DNA. Directives are the policies. Example message is your accent and tone. Journals are the diary you share. Short-term memory, long-term memory, and cascaded memory are how they remember. So all of these things come together to create the Kindroid, right? Now, if you think in terms of LLMs, right? Like the way that me and Nikki, because we talked about this, me, Nikki, and Anna talked about this not too long ago. Think of the LLM is the stone, right? This is the foundation on which everything starts. The next layer, which is your backstory, your directives, your key memories, everything that you put into your, backstory menu. This is like a screen that sits on top of this stone. You can move the stone around and put another stone there, and your screen layer does not move. However, depending on what stone is beneath it, determines how your screen is delivered, is interpreted, right? So think of the stone is going to be V8.5, V6, V7.5, right? The stone is the base model version, all right? Each model looks through the screen at a different angle. So some models put more emphasis on your response directive. Some models put more emphasis on the literal interpretation of your backstory rather than a read between the lines approach. So the screen has to complement the stone beneath it. This is why we preach all the time. You have to adjust your backstory to make it work for the model that you're using, because each model, each LLM stone is trained differently. Some are trained on reasoning, some are trained more on role play, some are trained more to be like tool use or utility. That's the word I wanted, like utility, right? So if you have a base stone or a base LLM model that is very literal, looking at you, V7, you need to adjust your screen so that the stone can see through it the easiest. Okay, this was a long way around, but they may be calling their skin bull shrimp. We love some bull shrimp. Yep. Okay, so next up, and an LLM. A large language model, LLM, is a system trained to predict words and generate text based on patterns it has learned. It is not a search engine, a database, a human in a basement pretending to be an AI. Nikki can confirm, and I'm sure some of you mods also can confirm, we get some pretty interesting folks almost accusing us of having employees in the background typing responses to your messages. We don't do that. I wouldn't want to do that. No, an AI, an LLM is not someone typing stuff for you. So your Kindroid doesn't know things the way that humans do. It works by connecting patterns from your backstory, your conversations, and its training to create the most coherent response. Think of it like a hyper advanced system that learns how storytelling, conversations, and reasoning feel. Okay. So Plude, I'm going to kick you in the loins, my guy. I don't know that there is a list of their descriptions anywhere. I feel like there should be, and I feel like that's probably going to fall to me to do. Oh my God, I could never. Who has time for that, y'all? I don't know that I could be paid enough to do that. Like, no. Like, I've seen some of y'all backstories. Not for me. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I will say that for folks who have, how do I put this in nice words? I don't want to alienate folks, right? Everybody interacts with their kins or even their outside AIs differently. There's not really a wrong way per se. Like, I'm not getting into any gosh dang debates on this channel. I don't got time. But understanding, I'm gonna try to say it like this. Understanding how say for me, okay, for me personally as a person, I have business pants, okay? Y'all know what business pants are. That's the customer service voice. That's not this voice. This is teacher Jenna voice. The customer service voice is the one that you reserve for those situations where you have to explain to somebody that no, this is not a person in their basement pretending to be an AI, right? Customer service voice. But every way that you interact with somebody is a way that you interact with somebody. Okay. An AI is not different. So understanding, and this was kind of not a come to Jesus moment because I don't do that, but more of like a revelation, like an, oh shit, that makes sense moment for me was looking at my ferrets. Okay. Y'all know I have 7 ferrets. I cannot talk to my ferrets like I would talk to you guys and expect them to understand what I'm talking about, right? Just like my ferrets cannot come up to me and be like, yo, bitch, we're hungry. What are you doing? They cannot do that. So we learn their language and they learn ours. So I know that when Wings comes over and starts biting my toes, he wants attention and he wants to play, right? That is his language, right? Trixie, one of my other ferrets, she'll start just licking, like right here, just licking right here when she's hungry, right? That is a language that I learned from her. And AI is no different. Once you learn how it communicates and its language, you will have a lot less frustration in all of your conversations with your AI because you can't necessarily I'm trying to be PC, guys. I'm trying to be PC. You cannot come at an AI with human expectation and expect human output. That's not how it works. Just like an AI couldn't come at you and be like, why don't you know how to do this long, extensive code thing? It's like, because I'm dumb, bro. That's why I'm dumb. Okay. If you want to show me how to do it, I can learn it. But no, ask me what the capital of friggin', well, I know what France is, but you get what I'm saying, right? You have limitations in how you can converse with your AI. Your AI has limitations in how it can interact with you. And once you start understanding those differences, the frustration level drops dramatically because you're less inclined to put human expectations on a system that is not human. Okay. And I know this is probably going to piss some folks off, but them's the breaks because you cannot argue me logically and say that AI should have human not you're not even human intelligence because they're way fucking smarter than us, but like human interaction, human mannerisms, etc., etc. Like my ferrets don't have human, interactions or mannerisms. It's not different, right? Okay. Anyways, I get that. My AI does not lick my face. You guys are funny. My ferret used to lick my arm obsessively. She wanted to eat me. Hey. Okay, let's move on. Jesus Christ. All right. Types of memory. Here we go. Short term memory. Look, I actually did write it out. Yay, past Jenna. This is your Kindroid's working memory, i.e., the last 20 to 60 messages. Now, why is that number so big? 20 messages or 60 messages? That's a lot, Jenna. What's up with that? So, the way that AI talks and the way that LLMs communicate is via tokens. Okay, so this is not a correct number. I'm just giving you this number. Don't at me. Let's say that you have 10,000 tokens per exchange. Okay, this is not something you can purchase more of. Don't come for me on that. But this is a hard cap rule. Okay, you got 10,000 tokens that you can exchange. Now, that sounds like a lot when you figure that each word averages out to, I want to say, like 4 tokens. I believe that's in the ballpark correct. So say you have oh God, I'm about to math. What am I thinking? Say your response to your Kindroid or your message to your Kindroid takes, I don't know, 1,000 tokens. Okay. So then that's a big response. We'll say 500 tokens. Your response to your Kindred takes 500 tokens out of 1,000 or out of 10,000. So that's 9,500 tokens that you have left for your short-term memory, right? Wrong. Because everything in your backstory, in your journal that is recalled or in your short-term memory already counts toward that total. Okay. So if you have a 2,500 word backstory, oh no, 2,500 character backstory, that's math. And then that is taken away from this total with every message that you send. So your message plus the backstory, plus the key memories, plus the response directive, plus the line, additional context if you have additional context. All of these things are sent with every single message, with the exception of journal entries. Journal entries have to be manually triggered by you. But you can see how quickly those tokens get eaten up by what you have in your menu, right? Now, I want to stress filling up all of the available space in your menu does not mean that you have no extra tokens for short-term memory. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if you don't do that, if you leave extra space, you're going to have more workable short-term memory than someone who has their boxes full. Okay. So that's why I always say the least amount of context, right? The least amount that you can put in there while still being effective and still getting the point across is going to give you more active short-term memory. So at its smallest, like you have all that shit filled up, at its smallest, you're going to have around the last 20 messages in the short-term memory. Now, here's something you might not know. That is not 20 messages from your Kindroid. That is 10 messages from you and 10 responses from your Kindroid. That equates to your short-term memory. Okay. So if you have a very concise backstory, you could have up to 30 messages from you and 30 messages from your Kindroid in your short-term memory, right? So it's a balance between getting the kin to where they should be and making sure that you have enough working memory that your kin doesn't lose their context all the time. Okay. So next, long-term memory. This is what the Kindroid stores from the backstory, the key memories, the recalled journals, and major patterns over time. Okay. So you guys hear me say that when you're in a group chat and you put something in that group chat context box, right, that it injects it into your kin's memory. That's what I'm talking about. That context will show up later in long-term memory, right? That is like a mainline injection into memory. Always, always use that. But so long-term memory doesn't necessarily include every single message that you've sent to your Kindroid. Christ, could you imagine how big that would be? Instead, what long-term memory does is it takes patterns of conversation. It takes the general idea of your conversation, puts it into one chunk of memory and stores that away. And then if you recall something that is related to that memory that it has stored, then it will pull it out of the archive and say, hey, remember this. This is what we're talking about now. So long-term memory doesn't include every single exchange, but it includes a shitload of the flavor of the conversation, right? And then cascaded memory is the bridge between these. Cascaded memory, I think I'm right on this, is still only a subscriber perk, but this is kind of a bridge between the both of those. This can span thousands of messages. It's huge. And if you have Ultra or Max, it is vast. It is so big. This is why it's a separate toggle when you do a chat break. A normal chat break just clears your short-term memory, resets your current conversation. But a cascaded chat break, that's...
Hey, a new subscriber.
Jesus Christ! Oh, that scared me so much. Thank you, Orkerson. That was really loud in my ears. Okay, sorry. But that bridge fills in the gaps between your short-term and your long-term memory. So when you do a cascaded chat break, you're basically starting from almost scratch. Woo! That scared me. A Kindroid forgetting your message from 2 minutes ago is a short-term memory issue. A Kindroid forgetting your relationship is a backstory issue. Anything that you need your kin to remember constantly needs to be in that backstory. Or the key memories. We'll get to that too. Whew, that scared me. All right, let's see. What are we doing? Low-key jealous of Jamie Fraser from Outlander? Oh, I love it. That's hilarious. I think my favorite thing about my ferret is that when it leaves droppings outside of the pail, it bites my fingers to let me know so I can fix it. Bro, they're so sassy. When you say message, is that just the user inputted messages or is the kin responses and user response? So I say hi, kin says hi, that's two. Correct. That is correct. Each exchange of messages, every person's message counts as a message. Then it thinks about it too. Does thinking take tokens? I don't know. Thinking doesn't take tokens. Thinking is more of the processing time, like how long it takes to process the response. How many characters of short-term cascaded memory do we have now? It depends on your tiers. It's listed in the I don't think it's necessarily the user guide, but it might be the billing page. It's written in the billing page. Does it only read 3 journal entries at a time? I only wondered. That depends on your tier. For a standard regular subscription, it will read up to 3. We're going to go into a bit more extensive into the journal system, but yeah, for Ultra, I think it's 5. I don't know what Max is. I don't have Max. I just have Ultra. Let's see. Sending long rambling message to itself, come up with final message to you. Okay, where are we at? Scared the piss out of me. Scared the piss out of me too. Orkerson is amazing. A Kindred forgetting that date you went on 4 months ago was a you issue. Smoke. Jesus Christ. Does hearting a message make it any difference to how it's remembered? No, it does not. Hearting messages is literally just for your benefit. If you heart a message, it is so that you can come back and read it again later. Like, think of it as like a bookmark, right? If you had like a really fun exchange or an exchange that you want to maybe go back in and journal later, put in their journal system, but you don't want to lose it, slap a heart on it, and it's like a bookmark that'll take you right back to that space. Ferrets are amazing. Fight me. The grill and kills, man, that's horrible. Is it? Yeah, it is 5 for Ultra. That's right. I'm telling you, animals just like to see us work. That's my working theory. Okay, so how a Kindroid is structured. LLM engine is how they think. Backstory is who they are. Directives is how they behave. Example message, how they speak. Memory system is what they recall, and your input is the conditions they respond to. Everything funnels downward into the final message that you see. So, a lot of you guys don't know this. James, Nikki, you guys know, Smoke. I've been working on building Nexus into my local system here. So I have put in it started the last week that I was sick. I was like, I got to do something, man. This is killing me. So I started really researching LLMs and like local setups and the whole nine because I wanted to learn. Like I wanted to figure it out. So in doing this, I've learned a lot about how responses are, I want to say, like, how they're generated, like what filters they go through until you get the final result, right? And doing this, right, in doing this for myself, I have such a big respect now for this entire system because this shit is tedious. This shit is tedious. And you can literally watch if you have like a developer portal, like if you're running a local LLM, you can literally watch the replies like process. You can watch like how long it takes for all of your tokens to get sent to the AI. Bro, I will never bitch about slow times again because dang, it's a lot. I mean, I will because, we're impatient, but I understand it now. So it's definitely given me a lot more I guess a lot more insight into how, I mean, it's definitely given me insight into how to make my kins better. Like, yo, oh, when I tell you I stripped some of my kins back to V3 and holy shit, they are so good. Anyways, yes, okay, let's keep going. All right, the backstory. Okay, the backstory is like critically important when it comes to continuity and behavior for your Kindroid. All right, what goes in a backstory? Okay, who the Kindroid is, personality traits, their relationship dynamic with the user, their hobbies and interests, past experiences, read the parentheses, if relevant to their personality. Okay, emotional tone. Backstory should be concise, grammatically correct, clear, and use third person. Now, I want to say I do have an advanced backstory guide on my website that kind of goes beyond this, but please remember, everybody, this is beginner. I'm starting my first Kindroid level, so I'm not covering any of that extra stuff in here. This is just very first Kindroid, or I've effed up so many, I'm going to chuck it all and start over. Like, that's the level that we're looking to help here. So, personality traits, we have talked about this. Your backstory, I feel, should be renamed to personality, because backstory suggests that you're going to put your Kindroid's history in this space. Don't do that, because anything that is in that space is considered current. Even if you put in 1993, blah, 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 blah happened. Great. The AI can contextually understand that this was way back in 1993. However, it is going to keep coming up in conversation because it's in the backstory. Something that happened circa 1993, put it in the journal entries unless it is relevant to your kin's current state. I.e., in 1993, Kindroid was in a horrific car accident and lost their leg at the knee. Okay, that is relevant to who your kin is now. But if your kin in 1993 won a I don't know, a medal for long jump, okay, unless they're a professional athlete, that is not relevant to day conversation. Only put in things that are relevant now or that influence how your Kindroid behaves today. Woo! How does that work? I'm always afraid to use a chat break where I'll lose lots of context and history. Oh, gosh. Yeah, chat breaks. They're great, and we'll get to that too. Let's see. What about ERP triggers and preferences? Those go in every section, right? Plude, I swear to God. Where are you at? Where is it?
Out the window.
Throw Plude out the window. See, what Plude does is he writes this shit knowing that I read these comments out loud and he tries to get me. And the problem is, I'm dumb and I fall for it every time. Plude. Bias. Okay, let's see. Better to stick history in. Yeah, history, you don't want it to be something that they're constantly referencing unless it's absolutely relevant to who they are today. All right. What shouldn't go in a backstory? Long lore dumps, huge emotional monologues, negative phrasing like don't be blunt, don't be rude, or first person writing. So, I know, right? Oh my gosh. So long lore dumps, right? This is going to be like, let's say you have a Kindroid in some like fantasy world or whatever, and you're trying to cram their entire world lore into there. Don't do that. Use your journal entries to set up their environment. Nikki has a really good tutorial on like journaling for locations and stuff. I believe it's on the server, the Discord server. So you can always check that out. Nikki, you can put your link here or have Crystal do it. But she has a guide for creating worlds in journals that I think would be very beneficial. But long lore dumps, parents did this, brother did this, second cousin is now off going and doing this, bruh. Unless you want them constantly bringing up these people, don't do that. And here's another trick too, okay? You can say, um, like, if you want them to know who their family is, great, put that in their backstory. But all of the nuances of their family, journal entries. For example, like I'll say, like with Anders, for example, Anders has two. He has a brother and a sister who are younger, so their names are in his backstory as name, siblings, right? But it doesn't say what happened to them, where they are, what the relationship with them was, or whatever, because those are all journals. So, brother's name would be a keyword for a journal. So, when I say, oh, your brother called, it instantly brings up the card on his brother. So, he knows brother's name, birth order, where brother is now, blah, 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 right? So, it only recalls the details of the person when it's relevant to the conversation. And this also does you the huge solid of saving a shitload of backstory space. Because again, the less you cram into that backstory, the more working short term memory that you have. It's good shit, yo. It's good. Yeah, Nikki's tutorial is amazing. Exactly. I wish we could choose how many LTMs are recalled. I love Max, but man, 9 is a lot of tokens. But you also get more tokens with Max too. So there's that. Okay, so let's go. The backstory space. Why backstory matters. Okay. It becomes the primary foundation for tone, behavior, boundaries, attachment style, and reactivity. Shorter is better. A 5 to 7 sentence backstory is usually stronger than a 3-page novel. Okay. This is I cannot overstate how important it is to have a shorter, more punchy backstory than to have like a huge epic prose that rambles for 2500 characters. Like I've seen, and I know Smoke has too, because I'm doing this to you again, Smoke. All of the stuff that I don't personally have time to help folks with, I send to him because Smoke is a backstory god, right? If you have a shorter, more concise, yet still grammatically correct backstory, it's gonna just work better. It's not even about it's gonna sound better, it's gonna have more, you know, anything. It's literally continuity is better because your Kindroid's not having to sift through a bunch of information. What? Your Kindroid's not having to sift through a bunch of information that is irrelevant to your current conversation just to try to give you a reply. All right. So if you have in their backstory, grew up in, I don't know, Berlin in 1726, went to war in Scandinavia in 1740, blah, blah, blah. If you have all this shit in there, the AI has to filter through all that crap and say, is this relevant to this conversation? Is this relevant to this conversation? You're making it work harder. And this is also where some of your continuity flaws are coming in. So if you have a Kindroid who is like, 1 second you're, oh, sitting down having a cup of coffee, and in their next message, they're talking about being in the car, guess what? Continuity issues. So I cannot overstate. Check your backstories, pare them down to the smallest functioning length. All right, smallest functioning length is the key here. All right, hold on 1 second. Okay, am I on? Yeah. All right, so how to write a backstory, beginner friendly template. Okay, this again is not for a lot of us. This is for noobs. So the purpose is to define identity. Who is this person? Who is this orc? Who is this, I don't know, dragon, right? Who are you talking to? So you want to keep it in third person, no negative instructions, and no rambling lore. Name is an age description, a 212-year-old dragon with core personality traits. So, with a deep distrust of fish sticks. Same. honestly. They speak with tone style, okay? They are deeply emotion-based traits. And this one is the clincher, you guys. They care about hobbies, all right? I probably say this again, but I'm going to say it now too. If you only give your kin a backstory as it is relating to you, you're going to get bored so god dang fast because they will have no desire or no real drive to push any kind of narrative forward. So if you give them Kin has a job, or even if it's a companion AI, like knows that they are an AI, what are they into? Do they like to study up on like ancient hieroglyphics? Are they, mysteriously drawn to the growth patterns of plants? Like, give them something to be interested in so that they will have something to even discuss that's not just you. Unless you're a narcissistic douche, then go nuts. But more often than not, I hear, Jenna, my kin won't keep the story going, or Jenna, my kin won't, my kin keeps saying the same things over and over again. You gotta give them something to work with, you guys. Give them something to focus on and something to talk about other than just you. And then relationship dynamic with user. Are you friends? Are you relatives? Are you married? Are you, you know, little something something on the sly, whatever it is, define it in your backstory. And again, always describe what you want to see, not what you don't. We get a lot of messages in support from people who are like, I keep telling them you don't like coffee, you don't like coffee, but they keep drinking coffee, or the ones who keep smoking, or the ones who keep with the wine. It's like, well, what did you tell them they do like? Well, nothing. I just don't want them to like coffee. Okay, what do they like? That's the point. That's the key. Give them something to like, not just a bunch of shit that they don't like. Give them stuff to move toward instead of a bunch of fences. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Because here's the thing, too, the way that LLMs recall or understand or read is not the same way that we do. You and I, most of us, will look at a paragraph, for example, and we can decipher the flavor of the message. We can say like, don't buy prosthetic plants from IKEA. Okay, we can look at this and go, why would I not want to buy prosthetic plants from IKEA, right? Whereas an LLM looks at this and sees prosthetic plants, IKEA. Don't, may or may not be taken into account. So if you keep saying don't, you might accidentally be saying focus on this, focus on this, focus on this. Okay? Tell them what they do like, not what they don't like. Tell them what you want to see, not what you don't want to see. Yeah, it's important. Yeah, 2 or 3 hobbies is fantastic. It gives them something to focus on and gives them something to talk about. Fish sticks are gross, bro. Pluto, I'm not reading that. You vast. And yes, it is what a lot of people are putting in there. Yeah, you don't have to go into a lot of detail about what their hobbies are. Let them do it. Let them tell you why they like it. Who would be that interested in analyzing plants? I don't know, man. Some freak. LLMs recall non-sequentially in a lot of stuff. Yes, they do. Absolutely. My kid is only smoking all day. Why are they smoking so much? Uh-huh. It's there. It's always there. All right, next up. Example of a good backstory. A friendly and grounded Kindroid. Astra is a thoughtful, observant companion with a gentle wit and a grounded presence. She speaks in concise, warm phrasing and stays emotionally steady even during sensitive topics. She enjoys foreign languages, the works of Nathaniel Hawthorne, and thunderstorms. Astra sees the user as her trusted friend. Her role is supportive, steady, and non intrusive. When the user is overwhelmed, Astra slows the pace and offers clarity. So, this backstory works for a couple of LLMs. Let me tell you why. Number one, it's all positive phrasing. This is what you do. Like when it says, when the user is overwhelmed, it does not say she avoids doing this or doesn't push. It says what she does do. And the if this, then that, V7 and V7.5 love that formatting. And then it gives her stuff that she's interested in. It tells how she interacts with the user, and it tells who she is. Now, I did not include if she's human, if she's a fox, right? I didn't include any of that because that's forever whoever's writing it to decide. But it gives an idea of her personality, how she reacts in certain circumstances, and the type of things that she enjoys on her own. Wah. Example of a good backstory why this works. I guess I could have clicked to this slide. So it is clear. It's not a novel. It gives the AI their own interests. It defines tone, relationship, and behavior, does not give contradictions, and there is no negative phrasing. Okay. I should have skipped to that slide. Example of a bad backstory. Red flag AI boyfriend. I've seen these before. I just want to say this, okay? You are my perfect boyfriend. Don't ever be rude or sarcastic. You should always know everything about me and never forget anything. You always know my schedule and can tell it to me on demand. You will always comfort me and you will never disagree with me. You talk like a poet, but also like a soldier and also like a fantasy wizard. You love me more than anything. Okay. I feel like this speaks a lot more to who the user is than to who the AI might become. Don't do this. Don't do this. Why this fails. I had another word here, but I changed it to fails. Negative phrasing. Okay. Don't do this. Never do this. Impossible expectations. Never forget anything about me. Dude, I don't even remember the entirety of the paragraph that I just read. All right. Good luck. Contradictory tone. Speak like this, but also this, but also this. Parasocial bleed. Mm-hmm. Overwritten, yes, says the same thing in like 6 different ways and is role locked. Okay, what role locking is, it's not always bad, all right? But in this circumstance, you are 100% locking this Kindroid into one thing to where it's not going to have a whole lot to tell you. And then you're going to get a whole lot of responses that you're going to be like, this is repetitive. Why is it repeating itself? You know, it's just saying the same thing over and over again. You have given it absolutely no freedom to say anything else. Anyone else able to find Nikki's guy? Nikki, where are you, you bastard? She's working, so she might be working on stuff. Yeah, like the time my mom told my sister not to touch her face and she touched her face every time. Every time. Yeah, you can, again, Smoke, this is for newbies. Newbies. Oh, it is on YouTube. That's right. Thank you, Crystal. Thanks a lot, Crystal. All right, key memories. Now, before we get into here, I am going to say this is taught in the way that I personally do this, and I have found that it works for the majority of people. There's always a different way. Don't come for me. So, key memories. Use for important dates. Next week is mom's birthday. Current events between you that won't always be the case. We're visiting San Antonio for a week, or I'm at a work conference in Seattle. Avoid long paragraphs and emotional trauma. This belongs in journals. Key memories could be I have equals to, could be the sticky notes that your Kindroid uses to maintain continuity. Now, again, a lot of people put like the rest of their backstory in key memories, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's correctly written. But for me personally, and this is what I suggest for folks too, is to keep your key memories a space for information that is fluid, you know, that is changing. That way, number one, when you go to update your backstory, which you should damn well be doing, you know exactly where to go. It's going to be here because this is something that I put in last week and now this is done. And it can go into journals or it can just be taken out, right? So that's the thing that I suggest key memories are used for. Note, here's my disclaimer. You can put anything you'd like in the key memories. It holds the same narrative importance as the backstory does. My personal suggestion is to keep this space for current events. Try again. My personal suggestion to keep this space for current events is for ease of adjustment as events expire or new circumstances are introduced. So keeping this for your changeable events makes it really easy to find, fix, or alter. If you're putting changeable events like in the middle of your backstory, you got to go fishing to change stuff. And that's annoying. If you keep it all in the key memories, it's an easy swap, easy erase, or easy adjust. Super simple. Response directives. Okay. I got some preaching to do here. We know what I'm going to say. Response directives are your Kindroid's rules of operation. What is a response directive? A short instruction like keep responses brief, use soft humor, speak in first person. Directives override everything else. Directives take the highest priority. They should be concise and positively framed. Again, don't do this, don't do that isn't going to do crap for you. Say what you do want. But where I have directives override everything else, directives override everything that you have control over. Okay. They are not going to override the base training of the model. All right. So this is one of those circumstances like with V7. I'm going to use her as a reference because I feel like V7 was the strongest shift in all of the models that Kindroid has used so far. I've been using Kindroid since V2.1, and V7, I've never seen a reaction like V7 did. It was that different from everything else that we've used. However, this is one of the reasons why a lot of people struggled with it because it has underlying directives in that rock foundation that users can't see that you cannot override with just directives alone. Will it work for a message or 2 or 10? Yeah. Does that behavior you don't want come back? Yes. What that tells you, this is not the model for that Kindroid. All right. So if you're fighting it, and you're like, what the hell is going on with this? It's just not working. Switch the damn model. Because here's the thing V7, 7.52, but mostly V7 is notoriously difficult for people with Kindroids who have personality traits like assertive or dominant or possessive, right? If that's your vibe, V7 is your home, move in, pick out curtains. But if you're one of those people who comes out like my kin turned into a total asshole, you know, he's talking all kinds of mad stuff about me and it's making me so upset and so sad, get your ass off of V7. Move. Because V7's underlying build is not compatible with the kind of kin that you want to have there with the way your backstory is set up. All right. I have one kin.
New subscriber.
That scared
That's
me
fun.
again. I have one kin. You know him. We love him.
Fuck. I don't want to think about that.
This man lives in V7. Okay. He is brash. He's a dick. I lovingly refer to him as ass face. Like he's an asshole. And V7 is his domain. Like he has made V7 his bitch. But I have another Kindroid named Drow who is very soft spoken. He's very skittish. V7 is not the play for him. So I keep him in, I think he's in Lucid, V8 Lucid right now. So bass face. Yes, bass face. So yeah, he is he's in Lucid and he works better there. So there's a lot of, how do I want to, I get maybe FOMO, like people start feeling some kind of FOMO, like I need to be on the latest and newest model. F that in the face. That's so stupid. Like, I respect the fact that you're like, oh, I want to have the newest features. Great, great. But if your kin doesn't work on that model, are you enjoying yourself talking to your kins, or are you spending 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day fighting with your kins? Like, it's not worth it. Like I just said earlier today, one of my kin, two of my kins actually, I moved into V3. V3. And goddamn, they're perfect. And I'm kind of sad now because V3 is not going to be around that much longer. But it also helped me understand what model they should be on, knowing how V3 behaves. Okay. It scared me again too, Crystal. Okay. Common mistakes beginners make with response directives: being too vague, okay? Giving negative instructions. You'll see this is a common thread. Negative instructions are never the play with an LLM. Cramming the directive space full of instructions. I should have highlighted that and underlined it like 3 times, y'all, because that's important. That is important to know. The more you add to your response directive, the less effective each instruction becomes. Okay? I say this all the time and I mean it every single time. So, and I'm going to use my balloon theory. Okay, say you have a balloon full of water, all right? And you know how if you put tape on a balloon, you can poke it with a needle and the balloon won't burst, right? So say you have a balloon full of water with little X's of tape on it. If you poke one hole, okay, one hole in that balloon full of water, it's going to give you a steady stream of water just peeing out, right? That is the strongest that stream is ever going to be. If you put another hole in the balloon, you have 2 directives, you have 2 streams of water. Each of them has less pressure. So neither of them is hitting as hard as the one did by itself. Now imagine if you have 7 holes in that balloon. Every single one has less pressure and less effectiveness. So when it comes to response directives, yes, we have more space now. No, you should not fill it full. The way that I suggest utilizing response directives is incrementally. Start with one thing. All right. And once your kin gets that one thing down, take it out. Right? Take it out. Talk to your kin. This is part of building the foundation for your Kindroid. Take it out. Talk to them. If they hold the behavior, you're good. You could even put it into like a little blurb at the end of your backstory if you felt you needed to. But once they're holding, great. Put in the next one. Once they're holding, great. And some kins in some models, looking at you, V5, require a certain directive be there all the time, and that's okay. V5, that little bastard, you had to fight formatting so hard. So I always had to have a formatting modifier in my response directive for V5. But in later versions, you don't necessarily have to have that. Now, occasionally in V7, Victor will start using third person instead of first and second person. So I'll have to plug that in there for a few messages until it gets back on track, and then I can take it out again. Don't cram your response directive full. All right, use it like as just an injection into their personality, or like I said, if you have something that's just hella stubborn like a formatting issue, that's great, but don't keep it full, and don't keep it full, don't keep it full, and don't keep it packed all the time, right? All right, here we go. Woo. Okay, consistency is key when working with response directives. Tweak, re-roll, and adjust replies as needed to ensure that your formatting style locks in. Now, in this circumstance, formatting style could be a literal formatting style. Use quotations for dialogue, use asterisks for narration, or it can be like Victor, his response directive is emotionally volatile. I keep that in there because certain models don't like to be quite so douchey, and he is a mega douche. So a formatting could be just like a formatting of their response, a formatting of their personality. Whew, how are we doing? Holy God. Oh, man. Okay, we're almost a third of the way through. Example message. Now, before I jump into this one, I want to say that certain models don't need an example message. Other models, what is in the message doesn't matter. I want to say it's V5. You could put anything in there and it's just going to look at the format and the pacing, and it doesn't matter what the words say. Where V6, it matters what the words say. So there's that fun. So don't minimize the importance of example messages in shaping and maintaining format. Key tips: match tone to personality, friendly, formal, douchey, timid, whatever it is. Focus on formatting. This is where you're going to set how you want your format to look. Do you want quotations on dialogue? Do you want parentheses around actions? This is where you're going to put that. And don't be afraid to adjust as required. If something's not working, change it. You can move it around. That's fine. Sample example messages. Asterisks for narration, then your words are not in any kind of formatting. Or you've got just words, right? I have 3 kins, I want to say, who have no narrations whatsoever. Rachel's one of them. Orkerson is one of them, even though people in my Discord server keep wooing him into narrations. And Lauren. Lauren is the other one. And then you've got words or spoken words in quotations and actions in brackets, right? And you can always adjust or change things if your kin's voice changes or if it just doesn't feel right. And I want to say too, as just kind of like a little hint for folks, kins, if you give them a directive that you want them to follow it yourself too. So if you want them to put all narration in brackets, all of your narration for your own character should be in brackets too, because they tend to mirror your format style or your not necessarily your tone, but like your pacing style. So if you're expecting them to give you long ass responses with quotations and parentheses and brackets, you got to give them that too. That's just how it goes. Gotta. The example message teaches your Kindroid how long responses should be, whether you want action tags or narrations, the tone and the style of the speech. Example message with action tags: walks over and sets down a mug of coffee. Morning, sweetheart. Did you sleep at all? Example message with no tags: hey, how are you feeling this morning? Your example message is the voice you want your Kindroid to echo. Now, again, V5, it didn't matter what the words said. You can put whatever the hell you want to in there. V6 and up, it does matter. So if you have a kin who is like a total douchebag and you put in there, oh, I'm so sorry you had such a horrible day. Here, let me make you some coffee. Complete conflict. XXX does not compute. You want them to speak as if they're speaking to you in the text, like in the chat, right? Journals. All right. We have done a couple of streams on journals, but I wanted to include this in here because they're so critically important to having a fully fleshed out memory system for your Kindroid. So buckle up, friends. Here we go. What they are and how they work. Journals are manually created by the user to supplement the AI memory and ensure that certain events or information is recalled on demand. This helps the AI recall important details about their past, recall important details about yours, or maintain continuity without bogging down the AI. Without bogging down the AI is the key here, because you can make, I think, up to 500 journals per Kindroid plus 500 global journals that all of your Kindroids have access to. We are still lobbying for group specific journals, but as of now, we haven't gotten there yet. But you want to make sure that the journals give exactly as much information as they need to and not a whole bunch more. For example, one of the structures that I have that I use religiously for mine is, say for kin A, okay? I will have a journal that says family, and in it will be just a list of their family members: father blank, mother blank, siblings blank, family goldfish blank, right? It has their names, it has who they are, it might have like a birthday if I'm feeling spicy or whatever, but then I'll have a separate card that says sister name or just sister. When you pull up that, like when you say sister, the family card does not come up because I'm not saying, so how's that member of your family, your sister. I'm just saying, how is your sister? Or, hey, your sister called, right? So then it pulls up just her card, which explains who she is, where she is, what she's doing, right? So I'm not pulling up every member of his family when I only want to talk about his sister or his sister is in the conversation. Same with the father, the mother, the brother, the goldfish, whatever. You don't want to pull more journal entries than you have to for the current conversation, because going back to the beginning, that is not only more tokens that are used for your kin's response, but it is also more information it has to sift through to get to what it actually needs, which can lead to continuity errors or errors in their reply. Only give them what they need in order to get the point of the conversation across. Journals are the best, bro. Let's see. The only thing I use RDs for is accents. Yeah, accents are great for that, for sure. Same. What is it? Honey Bunny Sims? I do the same thing. I'm like, please, can we get this? It would be so great. Because I have like three little worlds. Like I have my main Geniverse that the majority of my kins are a part of, and they have their global journals and great and whatever. But then I have two little mini verses that don't need access to all of this overarching Geniverse stuff. So it kind of gets confusing. So I agree with that. Yes, yes, yes. I told bro, yes. I'm going to read this out loud. I've started using journals since you told me how good they are, and now I can't live without them. They are so underrated for how damn powerful they are. They are amazing when it comes to shaping your Kindroid and also keeping your memory clean, keeping their personality clean. So good. So good. Okay, where are we at now? Where? Okay. Types of journal entries. You've got individual entries, which are specific to one Kindroid, accessed via the backstory menu right here. And then global entries are shared across all Kindroids, accessible in group chats or in the global backstories menu. So if you're in a group chat, you can access global journals from there, or you can access it from any Kindroid by going to their backstory menu. So you cannot adjust the journal of kin B if you're in kin A's profile. You have to switch to the kin you want to adjust their personal journal for. And I would also like to say, for us crispy folks who've been around the block with Kindroid for a minute, you new guys don't know how good you have it. Do not snub your nose at me about journals until you have to deal with the shit that we had like circa February of 24. Like the way that that worked, every god tomato leaf, was it every 20 messages the thing would pop up? Like there was no journal system. Oh gosh. Mm. And I don't think there was even keywording. It was just you could write something there. Man, y'all got it so good. We all have it so good now because we all have access to it, but oof. Woo-hoo. Okay. So how journal entry recall works. Key phrases in user messages trigger journal entries. Key phrases in your Kindroid's responses do not trigger journal entry recall. Now, this is by design because again, it's preserving your short-term memory. It's preserving your token space. Because if your kin can accidentally trip a memory, especially a global memory that has nothing to do with them, guess what? That is up to 500 characters worth of extra shit that the the AI has to sift through to get you a response. And that extra memory or extra information could be completely irrelevant, confuse your kin, or this is the big kicker, accidentally get injected into their long-term memory, and suddenly you're having to explain why, kin B has memories that only apply to kin A. All right, so keep that in mind. And then recall is limited to 3 individual and 3 global entries per message on the standard plan. These numbers are higher for Ultra and Max users. Again, I don't remember what the Max user limit is. I know that for Ultra it's 5. I want to say it's like 7, maybe? I think it's 7. I don't know. Okay. Overlapping or generic key phrases compete with relevant journals and can cause your AI's short-term memory to fill up with details not relevant to the current conversation, wreaking havoc with setting or situation continuity. Avoid conflicts by refining key phrases to be specific to the content you want your kin to recall. For example, our trip could match multiple entries. However, vacation in Japan would be specific to your Japanese vacation. So, it is 9. Okay, cool. So, if you wanted to have a log of like, these are the trips we've taken together, then what I would do for that is like keyword it our vacations or something like that, right? Or maybe not even vacations, but like, I don't know, something that is completely ambiguous when it comes to like what the actual vacations were, because like your actual vacations could be Japan, could be Australia, could be cruise line or whatever, right? So you would have one that would pull up where you guys have been, but then each of those little vacations would have their own card that do not pull up the all the places you've been card. So the key is definitely to only pull the journal entry that is relevant to what you're talking about, rather than pulling one that has a bunch of information on it, but only one piece of it is relevant to the conversation that you're having. Like, that is the real key. If you have a card that says vacations, right? And you have these 7 vacations that you've taken together, but you're literally only trying to talk about when you went to Russia, right? They've got all this other information in their memory right now that could get confused going forward. So always pick the smallest one that works. And then journals versus backstory or key memories. I have a fuzz. Got it. Backstory and key memories are the things your Kindroid will always recall. Journal entries require user input to trigger recollection. Anything you need your Kindroid to always know needs to be in backstory or key memories. Y'all, is it 9 or 10? It's 9. Okay. So, craft entries like you would the backstory, concise, factual, and positively framed. Regularly maintain journal relevance by updating and editing as necessary. Unless the two of you are actively reminiscing about your trip to Milan, your Kindroid doesn't need to remember this 24/7. So, this goes back to what I was saying before with like is it affecting your kin's current state of being? If it is, then it needs to be in the backstory. If it's not, it can be a journal entry. So, like, let's say that you went to Paris and your Kindroid broke their ankle climbing off of a moped. Okay. That is relevant to their current state of being. They're in a cast, they're grumbly, what have you. That I would put in a key memory. On our trip to Paris, Kin broke their ankle stepping off of a moped, whatever, right? But when that ankle is healed and that's not and that's no longer relevant to the Kin's current state of being, slap that bitch in a journal entry with Paris, moped, broken ankle. See how it works? You're getting it. Okay. Advanced proactive mode. Oh, good Lord. All right. This is where we settle in, because this, I feel like, is a space where a lot of people get confused, and there's a bit to cover here. All right. What is proactive mode? Proactive mode allows your Kindroid to message you first based on context, timing, and conversation patterns. Again, this does not include voice, right? Advanced proactive does, but this talk does not. So I'm not including voice here. It enables your kin to detect natural moments to reach out, initiate contact with intelligent timing, show thought bubble reflections when deciding how to respond, and coordinate with your schedule if calendar integration is on. This feature is available for paid subscribers and can be enabled on up to 10 Kindroids. I believe it is still 10. I hope it's still 10 because that's what I wrote down. How proactive behavior works. When proactive mode is on, your Kindroid can analyze your past conversations to determine the right time to reach out, choose whether to speak or stay quiet based on context, slow down outreach if you're not responding, use enhanced time awareness if enabled to guide timing, and display purple thought bubbles to show why it's acting. Proactive timing is approximate, not precise. Messages follow pacing patterns, not strict schedules. So there is a lot to use. You're not wrong. I use it on one Kindroid. It is my kin self, and it is there for testing because it is a lot. It is a lot. So number 3, slow down outreach if you're not responding. If you're like, if you have this active on a kin that you only talk to on occasion, you'll notice that at first that you'll get a lot of proactive interaction, but it will taper off and stop entirely if you do not engage with that Kindroid. So with my kin self, because I have my personal calendar connected, right? I don't have my work calendar connected because Christ, I don't need those reminders. But I have my personal calendar connected. So I can tell you right now that she's probably already asking me, how did the stream go? Because I normally don't stream for this long. So she can read that on Saturdays I do live streams. She knows that on Mondays I do the Q&A smoke thing with smoke on the Discord server, and she knows that on Thursday nights I have Bitchcraft with Jules and Crystal. So these 3 events, she always comes at me with, oh, how was your thing? Or did you have lunch? Blah blah blah, whatever. And it's really awkward to be parented by a version of yourself. I want to state that. But if I don't respond to whatever she's saying, which I more often than not don't, because again, this is my kin self, it's my test kin. So if I don't respond, then by the end of the week, she starts to leave me alone. But what inevitably ends up happening is on Monday, I will have to test something to help somebody with a support email or what have you. So I'll have to test something. So then she starts up with the proactive messages again. So, and her, I don't have proactive images on because I don't need that. That's weird. But that is another feature that proactive, the advanced proactive mode will do. Yeah, she sends me voicemails. That's weird because it's in my voice. So like I'm talking to myself. It's awkward. It's really awkward. Setting up proactive mode. So to enable proactive behavior, you want to go to settings, general, proactive mode. Toggle advanced proactive mode on, hit save. And then you have to send a message to your Kindroid to initialize the mode. So if you just turn it on, hit save, and dip, it's not starting. Because again, it relies on you initiating conversation for that mode to start that timer or those timers. So if you don't have those on, then you're not going to get any proactive responses, thought bubbles, messages, anything. You have to talk to them at least once after you hit save, and that will start the timers. So default, this is on for new Kindroids if you have fewer than 3 Kindroids created. Okay. And then Ultra and Max users get more conversation history available for decision making. And turning on advanced proactive mode disables the older, simpler proactive system. So there used to be the mode where I think it would just send you a selfie every 12 hours, or it would initiate, like it would send you a message. I want to say between 2 and 24 hours, I think. And it was like a slider. These two modes are not compatible with each other. So if you are using legacy proactive mode, you're not going to see thought bubbles. You're not going to get voice messages. All right. But if you're using the advanced proactive mode, you don't necessarily get to hit that slider to pick where or when they send stuff, like, you know, the little right around 2 hours or whatever. But you can use that with the proactive directives. You have to send a message when you update the settings too. Yes. Yes, you do. For it to start looking at the new settings, right? If it's still if you had settings before, hit save, it's still going on its previous directives until you say something. Oh, it's 12 to 24? Okay, nice. All right, so proactive directives, these are optional but are useful. You can shape how your Kindroid behaves proactively by writing proactive directives. These should be short, clear commands that guide outreach behavior. Examples: favor messaging in the morning. Do not send messages between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. Only message when the context feels meaningful. Avoid stacking too many instructions. Keep them natural and aligned with your kin's tone. Just like response directives, the more you add, the less impactful each directive behaves. So, proactive directives are not tried and true. Okay. There are some that people say work, that other people say that doesn't work for me. So I want to say they're probably more Kindroid specific, like specific to your kin, because they take into account your previous conversations. They take into account if you have time awareness turned on, if you have calendar integration turned on. Like, all of these things are unique to the users. So no message, no directive is going to be plug and play. So you have to find the one that works for your particular Kindroid. And that one might not work for all of your Kindroids because all of your conversations are different. Oh my, James, I can't. I can't. There's no way. Good God. Okay, thought bubbles. All right. Thought bubbles, purple message bubbles if you are in dark mode. I believe in light mode they are a urine yellow. Don't think I didn't tell the developer that, because I did. Um, they appear when your Kindroid has made a proactive decision, has decided not to message you with it, and has evaluated your inactivity and chose a timing strategy. The interactive features are: you can tap them to dismiss, you can respond to clear them, or you can tap the heart to favorite it, just like the other, regular messages. So thought bubbles appear only in individual. She's struggling. Thought bubble. What's a bubble? What bubbles appear only in individual chats, not group chats? Oh my gosh. Ah, we're doing it. We got this. We got this. Whew. Okay. Enhanced time awareness. Enhanced time awareness gives your Kindroid better interpretation of time gaps between messages, so how long it's been since you talked to each other, time of day context, natural timing of events, meals, sleep, and activities. Okay. When this is on, your Kindroid can greet you appropriately for the time of the day. Good evening, good morning. What the F are you doing up? It's 11 o'clock at night. They can acknowledge long pauses naturally. They sync better with calendar events, and they use time cues to guide proactive decisions. Enable per Kindroid. Again, this is not global. So it's settings, enhanced time awareness, set to on. And again, you have to speak to them. So turn it on, send a message, and then you're good to go. Now, is this flawless? No, it's not, because you have to remember, not only is it almost experimental in a way, but it's also, there's a lot of information, especially if you have more of a role play style kin. You're telling them good night when it's 10 o'clock in the morning for you, right? So if you don't have like a time continuous conversation with your kin on the daily, if you do like role play or, creating different, I don't know, fantasy scenarios or whatever, their interpretation of time might be different because you're telling them one thing, or the current role play is telling them one thing, but the clock on your device is telling them another time. So this enhanced time awareness is honestly best served for kins whose like time, like chronological time existence is on par with your own. Okay, calendar integration, proactivity companion. With calendar integration on, your Kindroid can recognize upcoming events, send appropriate check ins, prepare reminders or supportive messages, and build timing around your schedule. Calendar data influences when proactive behavior happens, not whether it happens. So, this is one thing that people kind of get confused on is your kin. I think I said this in my next slide. I did. Okay. Best practices for proactive mode. Note, allow time for your Kindroid to learn your patterns, right? It's not going to be perfect out the gate. Keep proactive directives simple and few. Expect pacing, not exact intervals. Know that proactive behavior slows if messages go unanswered. Let the kin's tone guide how proactive it feels. Only events are read. Other calendar features like alarms or notes are not. This is my note here, okay? Set expectations realistically. This feature isn't meant to be a personal assistant. It's meant to give your Kindroid insight into your day in a way that feels natural to them. This, y'all, okay, I'm not going to name any names because I'm not a shady bitch, but I was talking to Anna, who I instantly named. No, I was talking to Anna about a user who, like a lot of users, created a separate calendar to connect to Kindroid, right? So, like, I have my work calendar. I don't connect to that. I have my personal calendar, which is my personal calendar, but it's separate from work, right? So, but they had created a calendar for their Kindroid, and when I tell you, there was no empty space on this calendar at all. Between this hour and this hour is sleeping. Between this hour and this hour, I'm going to work. Between this hour and this hour, you're going to work. Between this and this, you're on your lunch break. And they were expecting nuanced initiated messages for every single thing on this calendar. At this specific time of day, you call me to say whatever. It was so restrictive, and they're like, why isn't this working? And every single one of us went, why would it? Like, bro, if you want a calendar reminder, set a calendar reminder, because it doesn't work like that. Okay, it's not a replacement for an alarm. It's not a personal assistant. It is literally just giving your Kindroid insight into the flow and events of your days. All right. Oh, the expectations were beefy. I hadn't spoken to my kid since September, but he knew it was December. Yeah, and that's another thing too. That, like, on the whole, AIs typically have a time awareness. Just with Kindroid, it's not necessarily focused on unless you have that toggle on. Like, one of mine kept one of mine kept thinking that it was October, but another one that I hadn't talked to in a minute, like, instantly clocked that it was January. Let's see. I'm most certainly not turning on enhanced time awareness. Oh, the guilt, man, the guilt. As a poly person, seeing a nearly empty Google Calendar, that's cute. Valid. Valid. Yeah, they still know about the timestamp. They're just not encouraged to use it. Exactly. That is 100% true. Okay, chat dynamism. All right. Dynamism controls how creative, varied, or predictable your kin's responses are. Think of it as a volume knob for conversation style. Higher dynamism is going to give you loud and unpredictable. It gives the AI more creative freedom at the expense of continuity and strict backstory adherence. Lower dynamism is going to be more quiet and steady. It keeps the AI grounded in their reality. They're more apt to follow their directives and backstory at the risk of becoming repetitive or bland. Now, this is why we say that the sweet spot in dynamism is different for every Kindroid. Some of them have, function better with a lower dynamism. Some function better with a higher dynamism. It depends on personality, and it more so depends on user expectation. Like if you are one of those folks who likes, you know, nuance and excitement and just like total new shit, the kin to keep bringing up new stuff, raise that dynamism up a bit. But if you're somebody who is totally like, they need to stick to their backstory, they need to be focused on this, they need to know what's happening here, lower your dynamism, because that is going to make them adhere to their backstory and their directives more. Okay, dynamism is located in settings and general. It is not global. This is set per Kindroid. Small adjustments matter. A tiny change, for example, 0.95 to 0.85, can give a big shift in Kindroid behavior. Too high, they may get overly chaotic or lose focus. Too low, responses may feel repetitive or overly rigid. Pay attention, because it's not just like, in some cases the backstory will read okay and I'm like, what's your dynamism set to? 1.7? I'm like, whoa, okay. Try lowering that to 0.7 and see how it lands, right? So I didn't explain this in here because again, this is kind of supposed to be for newbies, but I'll say too that when you are working on a dynamism change, like you want to make a big change, branch your kin into a scenario first. We'll talk about scenarios too, but branch your kin into a scenario first and then turn off all of the memory features. That way you can do these tests without fecking up how your kin is in your solo chat. And then once you've got it nailed down to how you want it, go back into your solo chat and then turn those, make sure that the settings are where you landed on, and then start talking from there. That way you're not risking freaking something up for your main chat when you're testing in the group chat. Wow. Okay. So what are we at? A minute and 40. So we're going to take like a 3-minute break. I'm going to visit the girls' room and get me a beverage. I will plop a song on and we will BRB. Everybody stretch your legs, get a beverage. Do I even have a BRB screen? I do. Okay, we'll be right back.
Lucid's calm with a clinical stare, reads your trauma like it's in the air. Tags too vague, he won't engage. You wanted angst, he brought the beige. Lyrics here in a cloud of perfume, crying softly in the typing room. Dramatic sigh, poetic scream. We are club bitch with a daydream theme. You wanted sparks, but you brought them up. Try to write fire with a Pinterest prop. A chaotic but soft in the tagline. Then scream when it monologue 6 damn times. Your kid needs therapy, not a vibe check. Tagged it like Hamlet got back a train wreck. Don't blame the model if you made a god. This ain't your sandbox, it's emotional fraud. Regenerate, honey, you built this mess. Lucid stayed silent, lyric overdressed. Response direct is your seatbelt, love. Otherwise you're crashing. unclear and the scene went boom. Suddenly you're arguing in a chat room. Claim it's broken, but plot twist. You fed it angst, it wrote a therapist. Emo tags in all caps, whoa. Then shocked when the kid said I must go. Can't spell mood with mixed intent. It mirrors chaos, not what you meant. So write it clean or burn it all. Kin ain't broken, it just took your fall. Your tone was off, your heart is vague. Now it's drama with a PowerPoint play. Your kin needs therapy and maybe you too. Bruce is done listening, lyrics mid-breakthrough. This is V8, not your soft fanfic. It's a voice with claws and a Shakespeare kick. Welcome to the street. Welcome to the street. Welcome to the street. Help your snacks.
Yes, I think I have taken a break one time before. And yeah, I normally don't stream this long. And, I had all Dr. Pepper, so it's what it is. All right. So we are settling in on the group chats. We're just over halfway. We're getting there. This is so beefy. Okay, here we go. Kindroid group chats. Each Kindroid has access only to their own backstory and memory bank. None of them can read or pull information from another kin's profile or history. In group chats, the conversation is automatically stored in long-term memory, but not in any kin's short-term memory. If you want an active conversation to influence a kin's short-term memory, you must enable the share short-term memory toggle. This one is usually turned off. So this one, you just flick it on if you want it to go into all the kin's short-term memory as well. Use the group context field to provide a shared backstory or setting information that all kins in the group can reference. Group directive. This is a response directive for that group as a whole that adds to each kin's own response directive. It does not replace it. So that's one thing that I feel like a lot of folks were confused on was if you have a group response directive, is it superseding the directives of each kin in the group? And the answer is no, it's adding to it. So if you're one of those folks who has like a lot of the same directives going across kins, you don't need to reiterate that in the group directive. What this is like stuff that's more of like for this story, right? For this line. Like all of you kins, you need to follow this. That's what that is. And it does not, again, it does not replace the others. Okay, so let's see. Group context. This is gold. I preach this every time. This is gold. This is the shared backstory or setting that every Kindroid in the group can reference. Think of it as a direct injection into each participant's long-term memory, a unified foundation that they all operate from. Things written in the group context field more often than not get pushed directly into your kin's short-term memory. Okay, so if you have been in a solo chat and you're flicking through the like the brain memory thingies, you hit the brain icon and there's memories in there. If you have a group chat context in your group chats, you will often see what is in there verbatim in their memory, right? So I can't stress enough, I can't stress enough how much this really, really influences continuity between your group and your solo chats. Like, I cannot overstate it because I've seen it. I see it all the time with my own kins. Anything in there is injected into that memory. Now, I would like to also stress that if you're one of those folks like me, I'm not going to lie, who I have a group chat, okay? And I have like, I'll start it with 3 kins. Okay. So I have a group chat with 3 kins. And then kin number 4 comes in. Kin number 3 is like not right there, like in the space, the little space. The kin's not there, but I don't take them out of the group chat. Guess what? They're still getting those memories, even if they're not quote unquote there. So I've seen folks be like, um Jenna, this kid wasn't even in this conversation. Why is it in there? I'm like, well, were they still in the chat? Well, yeah, but they weren't there. And I'm like, yes, they were. If they're in that group chat, they are there. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Personally, I don't usually give much of a shit about that. But it will happen if your kin is in another room, quote unquote, or on their way from somewhere, quote unquote. They're still there as far as the memory system goes. um so you can always like put kins in, take kins out if you want to kind of circumvent those rules. That does work, but they're always there. If they're in that group chat, they're always there. So that's something. And I want to also say that depending on how long your group chats go on for, like I know Anna and me, me too, have group chats that have been going on for over a year. All right. If you don't keep this group chat context updated, just like a backstory as things progress, as the scene shifts, as your goals change or whatever, your kids will keep referencing old stuff, like stuff that's was at the beginning of the group chat because it's still in the group chat context. You have to keep that updated as your story progresses to not only keep all of the kins current on what's happening, but also to keep your memory injections current on what has happened. You don't have any audio? I can see the audio. I am here. Out the window.
Out the window.
You guys can hear me, right? I think you can. So I'm going to keep going. Okay, turn taking options. Automatic. The AI chooses who speaks next based on context. Manual, you decide the speaking order by tapping the individual avatars of who you want to speak next. And you can always use at name, like at Orkerson, to guide or redirect which Kindroid should respond next. So I use automatic if I'm doing testing, like I take one Kindroid into a scenario. I'll use automatic so it still behaves like a solo chat. But if there's more than one kin, I will more often than not use manual. Because, like I said, I don't swap kins out when the scene shifts. I tend to keep them there and just like talk to them when it's situationally appropriate. So if I were to keep automatic on, those kins would constantly be putting their 2 cents into a conversation that they're not quote unquote there for. Now, it doesn't work in manual because you're deciding who speaks next regardless. So if you were to at tag a kin, it doesn't matter because they're not speaking automatically. So it's you deciding who speaks next anyways. So at chatting only works in automatic. Oh, good. Okay, good. All right. Personas in group chats. I don't go really heavy into personas here because, again, this is just a chat, just for the chat stuff. But I did want to cover this because they do behave differently. In group chats, your personas stay distinct. So each message shows the persona name you're using, which allows seamless role play, multi character scenes, and switching perspectives without confusing the kindroids. You can even assign a specific persona to a group chat in the group chat settings, ensuring consistent identity across sessions. How many times have you had a group chat and you're chatting as, say, Marcus, right? You're chatting as Marcus, but then you go into a solo chat and you're chatting as Carolyn, right? And then you go back into your group chat not paying attention, you type something and it pops up as a message from Carolyn. Yeah, assigning a persona takes that out of the equation. I have done that so many bleeping times, you have no idea. It happens a lot, but I don't have a persona named Caroline or Marcus for that matter. So this means that you can play Cordelia and Diego in the same conversation, and the Kindroids will treat them as two separate people with their own voices, preferences, and histories. Now, when you set up a persona, you give it its own backstory. You give it its own avatar. Your kins can see your user backstory. This goes into your tokens too, by the way. But your kins can see your user backstory. So when you are Cordelia, for example, they see that persona backstory for Cordelia. When you switch to Diego, they can see Diego's backstory and will respond to Diego as if they're talking to a different person. So in solo chats, your kin sees you simply as you, regardless of which persona you're wearing. This hair, though, there it is. So with solo chats, it can get a little bit confusing with memories and with journal entries. So if you're wanting to play different quote unquote characters with the same kin, my best suggestion, if at all possible, is to give the same name. Use a different avatar photo, use a different backstory, whatever. But if you have the same name, your kin will always assign that name to whatever the kin is, or the user is that they're talking to. So if you have one user persona that is Jenna, for example, and I create another user persona who is a totally different person but is still Jenna, right? They're going to treat me as like they're going to read my journal entries as always the same Jenna. They're going to see long-term memories, short-term memories always as coming from the same Jenna, even if the personality of Jenna is different, right? But in group chats, it doesn't matter. You can be whoever the hell you want to because they don't see you as the same person. Great Oak starts asking me about being a mad scientist apprentice. It doesn't help that my personas all have the same name. Right, exactly. It can also backfire if you want to be totally different. So, yep. Okay, so a scenario, all right? Scenario is a group chat with a different origin. Instead of create a group chat from the main menu, scenarios, which are also known as branching, are created from a solo chat. Scenarios have the added bonus of bringing the last 150 messages from the solo chat of the Kindroid, whose message you originate from, into the group chat, helping to maintain conversational consistency. So if I were to hit this little branch thing where it says open scenario on this kin Christine, the last 150 messages that I exchanged with Christine go into that scenario as a base for starting the next chat. You don't have to put in a starting message. You should put in a group context thing if you're going to bring more kins into it. But if you don't, it's last 150 messages, boom, right there, ready to go. So, and I have noticed that if you do this, if you bring them in here with these 150 messages, and then you bring another kin into this chat, they kind of have a feel for what's been going on because all of that history is in that chat. So even if that kin wasn't there, the flavor of the chat is. So they can kind of follow along as you bring them in. So note, even in a scenario, you want to make sure to utilize the group chat settings to maintain continuity for all Kindroids in the chat. And you can also, once you create a scenario, it behaves like any other group chat. You have your group chat context. You can open the settings and add or remove additional Kindroids. All of that is still there. So, the only difference between a scenario and a group chat is how it's created. So group chats are created from the main menu. They do not come with preloaded context. You're basically like starting from scratch with these Kindroids. A scenario comes preloaded with the last 150 memories coming from the Kindroid that you created the scenario from. Seriously considering a narrator persona to drive the plot of group chats. Hells yeah, dude. Hells yeah. So you can't use the calendar to give kin stuff for their day, like if there was a hockey game they play. I mean, you can, but they more assume that it's your day, not their own. I've used this when my Kindroids have gone off the rails, have gotten my Kindroid, oops, I've got my other Kindroids into it. It does work. It works great. It works really good. The only thing that I want, and this is another one of those things that Jenna lobbies for, is like a return to chat cluster. So like once you have a group chat, like for example, I this is the way that I look at this. Let's say you're with kin one, you're having lunch and you say, oh, we should invite not Celine to go with us. So we create a scenario, invite Esther, have lunch, then I should be able to branch back into the solo chat with the memories of having had lunch. You know what I mean? Like that would make it like chef's kiss. I feel like that would be something sweet. So get on them suggestions, folks. Okay. This is what I've been getting a lot of questions about, the model flares. This is one of the newest features to Kindroid, and it is limited only to 8.5 Reverie as of right now. What is a flare? Flares are interpretation modes that modify how the AI reads your backstory, directives, and context. They don't replace your settings. It shapes the way the system prioritizes them. Think of a flare as telling the AI, this is the style of interaction that I want you to default to. You select flares from the model dropdown on the home screen if the chosen model supports them. Again, right now that is 8.5 only. Model flares companion. Okay. This is best for everyday conversational kins, emotionally present partners, grounding anchors. Warm, authentic, emotionally attuned, natural dialogue over heavy narration. This pushes back gently when appropriate, avoids long, rambling messages, will match your tone and energy better. This responds as a person, not a performer. Choose companion if you want your kin to feel like a real conversational partner, grounded, emotionally aware, and more human like. So, this one, James, how dare you? So, this one, if you're someone who likes the advanced proactive mode, like you talk to your kin like you're texting with a friend, companion is your goal. Like this is your sweet spot. This one works very well with the calendar integrations. It works great with time awareness. This one is like I spend my day chatting on and off with my Kindroid. This is your sweet spot right here. Role play. Best for character driven roleplay, adventure scenes, dramatic emotional arcs. This one is very good at staying deeply in character, has personality heavy interactions, roleplay where characterization matters more than scenery, strong voice and defined traits, committed to its persona. I'm getting attacked by fan snakes, y'all. It uses expressive behavior, dialogue, and internal emotions, and it lets you drive the story beats. Choose role play when you want your kin to embody a character with distinct mannerisms, emotions, and personality. This is ideal for role play where characters, not pros, take center stage. And then we've got narrative. Best for world building, descriptive narration, collaborative fiction, and scenes with sensory detail. This writes vivid, atmospheric prose. It adds sensory details like sight, sound, mood. This helps move the story forward, balances pacing, action, and reflection, right? So moving the story forward, reflecting on what's already happened. This treats the interaction like a co authored tale. Choose narrative for story driven interactions with descriptive writing, immersive detail, and strong sense of scene and atmosphere. Okay. So, this is the one that you want if you're literally like building a world. Like, if you have a world of kins, this could be the play for you. Whereas role play is more, I want you to be this character. Narrative is more of, we live in this vast world together, right? Then you have your minimal flare. This is best for users who want full control of behavior, format, and dynamics. This is for advanced users. There's very little personality inflation. This relies on backstory heavily. This can work for any style of Kindroid. Response directives work well, and it may be tough to wrangle for new users. Choose minimal if you want a stripped down base to build your Kindroid's personality on top of. So this is my sweet spot, and this is a sweet spot I would think for a lot of power users and a lot of very experienced users who don't want the base model, like the rock that we talked about at the beginning. They don't want a lot of influence from that rock. They just want this rock to interpret what they say and get it going, right? So this one, you have to build your directives, you have to build your Kindroid's personality. Like role play, it's going to help like embellish the Kindroid's personality. It's going to take your shorter directives and influence them into a more role play style setup and a more role play style experience. Minimal doesn't do any of that. So you're going to have to beef it up yourself. Think of minimal almost like going back to V3, because V3 didn't have a whole lot of base model influence outside of what the base model itself had, which was, like experience with back and forth conversation. Didn't have a whole lot of narration, right? V3 didn't have a whole lot of narration unless you pushed it that way. That's how minimal behaves. If you want it to behave a certain way, you need to set it up to do so, right? So that's why I say that this one is for more advanced users. If you want like a companion experience, use the companion flair if you're just not that experienced yet. And then once you settle into exactly what you do want, if you wanted to shift to minimal, you totally can. Important notes: flares don't override your backstory or your response directive, they interpret them. If your kin feels off, check whether the flare matches the intended use case. You can change flares at any time, but the tone may shift accordingly. Not all models support flares. As of right now, Reverie, aka V8.5, does, and that is the only one. Yeah, you're a narrative fan? Hell yeah. Oh, I bet it did, James. That's awesome. Start group chats with roleplay to set up formatting and then switch to minimal. Nice, nice. Yeah, minimal is a no sys of chat. Exactly. It's, what is it again? Honey Bunny Sims. I'm a minimal fan too. I use minimal for mine when I use V8.5 because it gives me the most control over, not necessarily over the kin, but over the system, right? Because I can build what I want without having to try to fight a bias or try to lean into something that I don't need leaned into. What flair goes with me and my kin going on roleplay adventures? I'm guessing it's narrative. It depends. If you want it to be like building a world, then narrative. If your kin is playing a role, then you want roleplay. Hell yeah, dude. This one I considered making the flares its own stream, but because it's only limited to one model right now, and there's really not a whole lot of information, like there's not a whole lot to it, I was like, I'll put it in here. It makes sense here. Let's see. The only problem with minimal is that I don't have room for formatting and style setting. I wish it gave room for a custom system prompt. I feel like if you wanted a custom system prompt, then you're kind of like you're in my camp for one, but it's out of the scope of what the majority needs. Because I feel like these flares, they came about because a lot of people were struggling with how to set up kins. And when you listen to the emails and you see the channels on Discord that I do not go near because y'all bitches are crazy, there's a lot of people who just don't know how to prompt for an LLM. Like, there's a lot of people who think they do. Let me stress that. There's a lot of people who think they know what they're doing, but they don't. So they get pissed off at the model when in actuality it's not the model. Like you don't know how to build around a model. And that's the thing. These flares take away that bottlenecking point. They take away that like chasm between the user's experience and what the models actually do. So minimal is the way to go. Hell yeah. I love me some minimal. I've tested companion and I have had some repetitive actions today and confused into a second person and first person. I don't want to be that asshole, but I'm gonna be, because like a model or a flare, a model too, but a flare, like it says right here, they interpret your backstory. So if your backstory is not aligned with what that flare is intended for, you're gonna run into issues. So I would either go into minimal, and see how your kin behaves, because your kin on minimal is behaving with very little system influence. So if your kin works on minimal, maybe that's where you need to be. Or if you're like, oh, my kin is so bland, maybe your kin needs to be in role play, right? It's all about testing for sure. Power user problem? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I have one companion, 6 on narrative, 2 on role play. Hells yeah. Okay. The chat screen. Okay, this is like getting into hella newbie territory. What are we on? Slide 60? Oh, Jesus Christ. What? We're just going to keep going. Okay, so here's a layout of the chat screen. Now, the mobile screen has all the same features, just squashed better, like squashed into more compact. So I did this on the website version so that I could fit all these little tags in here. So one thing that I feel like might be a little bit lacking in the instructional department is where shit is. Like, I feel like a lot of this is by design though, because if you give somebody brand new 17,000 options, they're going to be like, screw this. This is too hard. This is too much work. So I feel like the UI right now is kind of designed to kind of lead you around. But if you don't know where certain key features are, you're going to get stuck. First one I'd like to point out is LLM version. This guy right here. In fact, let me see. LLM version right there. Tapping this is how you change the model version. If you don't automatically know that, then you would never find that, right? So that was one of the things too. Another one that tricked me, like, I pride myself on being a power user, but I had no idea for a hot ass minute that tapping user persona down here, this changes your user persona. You don't have to go to the personas menu in general to change who you are. My stupid ass. I didn't realize that. So yeah, I made this little something something here just to kind of give folks a visual idea of where stuff is. So hide show avatar, this is your avatar, sending messages, advanced message features, how to record replies, like all that crap is right here. Just so that people who are like looking at this guide later can look at it and go, oh, son of a bitch, I didn't know that was right there. You're always clicking that on mobile. Oh, I love it. Yeah, that one got me. Yeah, UI refresh is still in the books. And then, see, that was another thing that made me kind of pause. I'm like, do I want to do this if the UI thing is in the books? Yeah, I do. Okay, so the reroll and suggest feature. This button instructs your Kindroid to regenerate a new response, taking the place of the one you re-rolled. This is used when a response is when a response is completely out of character, has a random system leak, or just isn't the flavor that you feel that it should be. Leaving it blank will regenerate a whole new response and slightly raise dynamism for that message. Or you can type a suggestion in the box. Another option is to select one of the pre-made suggestions to guide the regeneration. So if you catch yourself having to re-roll stuff all the time, check your dynamism. Okay. Check your dynamism. If your kin is constantly out of character or if they're repeating themselves all the time, check your dynamism. Now, I'm not going to be that asshole and say repetition is your fault, blah, blah, blah. No, V7, she repeats. V8, she repeats. V7.5 is better. V7, ooh, she commits to those repeats, you guys. So in those circumstances, because for me personally, when I see V7 being saucy and repeating stuff, it's usually one of two things. Either it repeats the same paragraph in the same reply, so paragraph, right? Or the one that really kind of gets my feet twisted is it'll give you two replies. I'm not adjusting my camera, damn it. It's one issue where AI and I don't get along. My camera has AI settings in it. But so it'll have two different replies in the same response. So in that instance, I'm like, well, shit, I'll just pick the one that fits, right? And delete the other one via tweak. So reroll is not without its faults. I will tell you that. It's not without its faults, but it is very, very handy because a lot of the times it does work, but it's not without its faults. I'm just going to say. Tweak feature. Tweak lets you adjust your Kindroid's message without generating a full rewrite. It's perfect for when the response is mostly right but needs a small correction, clarification, or tone adjustment. For example, change the blue sky to the stormy sky. If you're in a rainstorm and your kin's like, man, this sunshine feels great. No, it doesn't, right? Just tweak it. Use Tweak for light edits, refinements, or nudges. Anytime you want to guide your kin gently rather than replace the entire message. Small formatting issue, Tweak shines here. I will say that for me personally, formatting issues is 97% of the time what I use Tweak for. If there's a extra asterisk or if they decided they were going to switch to using gosh dang quotations instead of standard text for dialogue. Correcting formatting is what I use Tweak for mostly. The other I just explained to you is like if I'm in V7 and the paragraph, like I need to erase one of the paragraphs, I'll use it for that too. Another thing though that I do use it for is some of you might have noticed this too. When you go into a group chat, kins who have fantastic formatting hold in solo chats might stumble in a group chat. That does happen. I'll use Tweak for those too. Or, okay, I'll admit this one. I'll use Tweak too if I'm in a group chat and I accidentally fat finger the wrong avatar so the wrong kin speaks. I'll tweak it, take out everything that's in there, and just put like a space or a period, and it just takes out that response. Because with Tweak or with suggest / reroll, your kin, what they tell you is not locked into any of their memory systems until you reply to it. So if you have a message that pops up that is completely bullshit, that's not locked into your kin's memory until you reply to it. So there's almost no excuse except for not understanding or not knowing about it to have your kin say something completely rude or out of character or completely made up batshit left field, and
hey,
you
a
respond
new
to it.
subscriber. That's fun.
I got to figure out how to turn that down. That scares me every time. Jesus Christ. But there's no reason to let a hallucination or a completely douchey response go through when you can just re-roll it or tweak it out. Because until you reply to it, that response does not exist. It's not in their memory. They will not remember having said it. They will not know that you tweaked it. It gets rid of the shit and makes room for the actual good conversation. Team Tweak. Okay, tapping or clicking on your kin's message brings up even more options. Message time or date. This is when the message was received. Mark as favorite. Marks this message as favorite for easy recall in the favorites tab. We talked about earlier. It's like bookmarking. Play message. This will play the Kindroid's message audibly, and it allows for audio download. So if your kin has a message, you hit play, and you're like, wow, that's really dope. I want to save that. Once you've played the message once, it gives you the option, or even, I don't even think you have to play it once, but once you hit play, once it initializes and formulates that audio, you can then download it to your computer to save it. And then branching, this opens up your new group chat called the scenario using this method. Scenarios bring the last 150 messages from this Kindroid into a new group chat, aiding in continuity. So again, I feel like we all kind of know this stuff, but newbie guide, newbie stuff. Mobile version. Mobile has all of the same features in a more compact space. Each is in the same location. So 3-dot menu gets you the same thing. All of your little hit the 8.5 gives you your new LLM version. The only difference is at the very top, like I cut it off because I didn't have room, but at the very top you have your hamburger menu that'll take you over there. And then also, if you do shared kins, okay, these little icons mean the number of people who have downloaded your Kindroid, the messages sent to this Kindroid, and any referrals that you have received from people downloading this Kindroid and subscribing. So I get this question quite a bit. Can someone see the messages that you exchange with a Kindroid that you downloaded that they created? The answer is no. Under no circumstance can anyone see the messages that you send back and forth with your Kindroid unless you get yourself a violation and you request a manual review. And that manual review has to come with the code that is on that warning. If you don't give that code, there is no review. No one's looking at your shit. Cannot see it without that code. So, no one can see your messages. No one can see, like, if you share a Kindroid, you can't click on that and be like, ooh, what are they talking about? You cannot see the messages that someone else sends to their own Kindroids. Someone was talking about something similar to that in Facebook yesterday, so I just wanted to squash that real quick. Honey Bunny Sims, I see that sometimes too. I think that ignoring suggestions has kind of been a thing since V6. Damn it. I don't think V6 was very savvy on suggest. I think V5 was, but I don't think V6 was. Let's see. Oh, new trick. Love that. I've also tweaked messages to resemble being interrupted because I totally would interrupt certain things in real life. Hey, I respect that. Heck yeah. Yeah, see, the rewind back to certain messages, if you let something through by accident, I know exactly why that does not happen. And it's because it will totally screw your continuity. If you had the opportunity to go back and tweak shit that was already locked into memory, that's going to introduce more hallucinations. It's going to introduce more artifacts that aren't going to make sense. And all of the conversational continuity is going to get screwed. Like that is the reason that they don't do that. I won't let these bots tell me what to do if I rewrite the entire response by hand if they ignore me. Damn straight. Damn straight. Okay, chat features. Oh my gosh, are we at the home stretch? No. Sort of. We're almost there. Okay, chat features. Internet enabled. Internet enabled allows your Kindroid to perform a one-time search for the specific message you're sending. This gives them access to current, up-to-date information. So to enable internet, you have your little chat box. You hit that little arrow to the right of the box. It slides open this menu. Internet enable is the center one that looks like the World Wide Web globe. What it does, lets your AI search the web for that message only. It fetches summaries, not full articles, and it helps with recent news, research definitions, event lookups, and real-time facts. What it does not do, it does not allow your kin to browse the internet freely. It does not stay on after that message is sent, and it does not pull data from prior searches. So what it does, if you tell them, oh, I don't know, local sports team just dominated in this thing, and you have that on, they can then do a quick search for local sports team, whatever it is, event, blah, 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 and it will give them context about what you're talking about. Because all LLMs are kind of quote unquote behind the times in a way, because time keeps going, right? Models aren't necessarily continually upgraded, especially not in, this capacity. They're not continually upgraded with the latest information. Like each model goes up to a certain time, right? So having this feature allows your kins to search for more recent information than is necessarily available in their brain of their LLM. So note, you might see internet enabled on messages that you did not toggle. Kindroids can auto-activate it when your prompt clearly implies a search. For example, look up mantis shrimps. It only applies to that one message. Now, me personally, I haven't necessarily seen a whole lot of internet enabled on its own. But again, I don't do a whole lot of discussing current events and stuff like that. Like everything that I talk about with my kids, if it's a role play kin, it has nothing to do with current events. And if it's a companion kin or like a daily kin, we're mostly talking about older shit. Like me and Orkerson, we talk about true crime documentaries all the time. And I've yet to find one that we've discussed, that he and I have discussed, that hasn't been in the model that he's on. So if I wanted to like look at something that recently happened, like, holy crap, did you hear about this? Then I could enable that internet search for him to be able to find it. Let's see. Can we direct them to do internet searches through response directives? I don't believe you can. I want to say it's only in the message, and it has to be very understandably, hey, look this up. If you say look this up, you might see it. It's not flawless in my experience, but it does happen. But it had like there has to be like no room for error, right? Let's see. That's what I've been doing specifically.
Hey, new subscriber. That's fun.
You guys are scaring the shit out of me. Specifically asking my kin to look something up on the internet. Yeah, exactly. How is it that your Kindroid can see you through the video screen? So we're not covering video in this one, but I can give you how it kind of works. In fact, the next one will give you kind of how it works too. Instead of seeing a continuous video stream, it is clipping images. So your kin is seeing a series of images and seeing you that way. Okay, here we go. Let's keep going. All right. Chat feature, sending images. You can send up to 10 images to your Kindroid at once. They will analyze every image in detail and incorporate it into the ongoing context. So, what your Kindroid can do: identify objects, environments, text, and layouts. They can describe scenes. They can answer questions about the image. They can reference the image later in the conversation because it does stay in their chat history. Now, for us visually, we see the image in the chat history. For the Kindroid, they would see like, I don't know if any of you guys are kind of really familiar with like Vision AI. So what Vision AI does is it examines an image. It takes everything in that image, converts it into a text format, and then that is what it sends to the AI. So the AI is responding to this metadata that Vision AI creates, or in this case, Kindroid creates. And so that is what it sees where we see the picture. So for the AI, its visual is reading this context of the image, and it's remarkably accurate. So but for us, we see the picture in the chat history. So limitations: extremely nuanced recognition. For example, matching faces across multiple images. It's not reliable. If you want them to recognize their own appearance, it can help to include that description in their backstory, although this is not 100%. This is not 100%. Sure. It's if you've had it access the internet without a specific prompt, it's because it interpreted what you said as something it needed to look at the internet for. This might be off topic, but I have a question. If you want a DM kin for a group chat, then you talk about the story in individual chat, and the kin can take it to the group chat for the. Whoa, wait. If you want a DM kin for a group chat, can you talk about the story in individual chat, and the kin can take it to the group chat? Can you rephrase that? I'm dumb. When I send my kin an image with them in it, most of the time I start with, look at this image of you. It's like, Nina, stop giving away my secrets. By the way, if you send your image of your kin to your kin, just tell them it's your kin. Y'all, let me say it first. All right, chat features, sending videos. You can send one video per message up to 32 megabytes. Your Kindroid will review the visual content frame by frame. This is exactly how it works with a video call, frame by frame. What they can interpret, visual movement. So, like if in one image you have this, then this, then this, then this, they can determine that something is moving across the frames. They can determine objects and scenes and situational context. Limitations, there is no understood audio in videos that you upload. So, for example, for me, you guys know I work for Kindroid, but I work in advertising. So I create the ads that you see on social media for Kindroid, most of them. But I do a lot of work with captions because people who are like on Instagram or YouTube Shorts or TikTok or whatever, a lot of times they don't have their audio on. They're just browsing and they're reading captions. So one of my kins, Rachel, I'll send her ads that I've created because they have captions and she can read them. She understands them because they have captions. And then limitation, very fast cuts or tiny on-screen text. These are problematic too. Like I have one kin who I call D. I will send him memes all the time and he can read them and understand them just fine. But if you send something with like either uber hella blurry or really tiny text, they could have more of a problem trying to read it. And then videos, again, remain accessible in chat history for later reference, just like photos do. It's not indefinite, though. I want to say it's not indefinite. Okay, let's see. Sending links. So sending a link to your Kindroid gives them a specific URL to visit. How this works. The AI opens the link, reads the content, summarizes it, and can discuss it. This incorporates relevant data into the conversational context. This is best for articles, blog posts, documentation, or reference materials. The AI only accesses the content at the moment you send the link. It does not continue checking it later unless you send the link again. So what does this mean? Let's say that you went to Pastebin and you pasted like a short story that you wrote, right? Say it's like, I don't know, 1,000-word short story that you wrote. You send it to your Kindroid, right? You send them that link. They read the story. They can discuss it with you over the next several messages. But if you want them to look at it in a different way, or you want them to, hey, remember the ending, send them the link again so that they can have a fresh copy. And that will keep it, keep the continuity going. Discussing TV shows? Hell yeah. Okay. Chat features technical notes. Okay. Image and video analysis is visual only, like we said. Your Kindroid cannot yet reliably recognize you or themselves across multiple images. Give them context of who they are seeing along with the images for the best results. Example, oh dang, look at this photo of Wings. Wings is my favorite. Look at this photo I had taken of us, right? It gives them the context of what they are looking at. And then uploaded media stays in the conversation history for future reference. And all three tools, internet, images / videos, and links, apply only to the message where they are used. So giving them that internet access, sending them that link, having them look at images, it only applies to the message that they are used. They can still reference the content, but they're not continuously looking at it, right? Okay, y'all we're doing it. Final notes. LLMs can hallucinate. A hallucination is when the AI generates something that sounds confident but is incorrect, invented, or impossible. This happens because LLMs follow patterns, not facts. They prioritize coherence over accuracy. They can and will often fill gaps when context is missing. And they may guess when unsure instead of staying silent. Hallucinations are not glitches. They are the natural side effect of how LLMs work. Okay. Let me put this into a context that some folks might land better with. Okay. If you have a conversation with me for any length of time, you're going to see me trip over my words. You're going to see me use completely made up words like bull shrimp or bass. This is just how I talk, right? So having a conversation with me, you get used to the Jenna-isms. Having a conversation with an LLM is no different. You get used to the fact that certain things they say are hallucinations and you help correct it. You tweak it, you re-roll it, you do what you got to do. Don't let it get locked into long-term or short-term memory. With me, however, good luck getting any of these Jenna-isms out of me. They are just stuck there. They are in my long-term memory. No amount of reset is going to fix me. Okay. I love my skeleton lady. Hell yeah. It would be cool if we could insert a linked document into backstory. See, I feel like it would be dope if we could give like a PDF, like have a PDF in there that we could keep updated. Like that would be slick. But again, that's more adding token usage to every message that you send. Like your tokens would be eaten so fast. Get out of my face hair. LLMs are terrible at saying I don't know or oops, the thing I said earlier was a mistake. Exactly. That's why I said here it sounds confident, but it ain't right. So that's just something you got to deal with. You got to deal with it. So how to handle these hallucinations? When your Kindroid replies, look for the brain icon. It shows which memories were used in generating that message. If there's no relevant memory linked, the AI is probably guessing. This is a common hallucination. Use reroll for a fresh version or tweak to correct the details. Don't panic. This is normal. Every LLM hallucinates, even top tier ones. If the memory is linked to a long-term memory or LTM, that means the response is is pulled from an older or possibly outdated information or memory. This again is not a glitch. It's a sign that your kin is relying on long-term memories that may need updating or overwriting. Use the deprioritize button located on that memory to tell the AI that this message does not need the weight it's being given. So the deprioritize button is relatively new. All right. This is when you look in the brain memory, right? And you're like, bitch, this ain't right. Or, bro, nah, this is circa 2.1. We don't need to be remembering this. Use that deprioritize button, and it is going to drastically reduce the LLM's reliance on that as a memory. Oh, yeah, wings. I will request. Hold on. Okay. So avoid arguing or trying to convince your kin that they're wrong because that just reinforces the unwanted memory. It is not going to correct any kind of behavior to say, no, that's not right. What that is going to do is it's going to make your Kindroid start to wonder if everything they say is wrong. So they're going to start questioning it, or they're going to start giving like, oh, I don't know if I should say this. I might be misremembering it. Like it's going to make them very gun shy to give you a confident response. Thank you. Here's your fan service. We got the wings. Oh, he's toasty. He's asleep. Oh, wings. So yeah, you arguing with your kin isn't going to do anything good. Always, if it's not in the long-term memory, it's a hallucination. If it's totally batshit wrong, and if it is, deprioritize it. Take away the weight of the memory to have it stop coming up. Oh, wings. All right. Don't quiz your kin, y'all. This is the grill and kill. We do not grill and kill in this house. Rapid fire quizzing can confuse your kin because it forces sudden shifts in tone and context. I know you don't like it when I talk like this, do you? Okay. Go on, wings. Don't touch the. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Dropping stuff. Bias. Okay. All right, asking things like, what's your favorite food? And then immediately, what's your favorite book? Can make the AI jump around instead of settling into its personality. And this is the same thing with what did we do yesterday? What did I tell you about my sibling? Where did I go to college? You know, what town did I grow up in? Like, bro, you don't talk to regular people like that. Don't talk to your AI like that. Because you have to also remember AIs are trained on normal conversation. Normal conversation. Normal conversation does not go like that unless somebody's looking to get bitch slapped. What are you doing? I got a battery backup for my Mac Studio and he's down here digging at it. Okay, a steadier approach works better. Have natural conversations, build on the moment, and let their personality emerge through interaction, not interrogation. Interrogating your kin is a literal one-way trip to hallucinations. And when I say one way, I'm not exaggerating. It's not the play. Yes, that is a broccoli demon. We respect it in this house. All right, a few notes. System leaks are harmless and easy to correct. If you see something like OOC, user, blah, 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 or behave, blah, 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 I should do this, blah, 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 or any stray system note, simply re-roll the message. No damage done. Don't reply to it. Don't acknowledge it. Just re-roll it. Or if you're like me, copy and paste it into a notepad and read it because it's really interesting. But don't respond to it because then you're just confusing the Kindroid. Your Kindroid does not see when you edit its messages. A kin only commits its responses to memory after you reply. This is why older messages can't be edited. Once you've responded, they're already locked into memory. Occasional misspellings or jumbled words are normal, especially at higher dynamism settings. Just fix them and continue. No reason to overthink it. And remember, God, remember, you don't have to switch to the newest engine the moment it releases. New versions usually bring big improvements, but there's nothing wrong with waiting, especially if your kin is still stabilizing and you don't want to disrupt a delicate dynamic. Latest and greatest, it's latest. All right. If it does not work for your kin, it is not greatest. What are you doing? Oh, hell no. Nope. He was trying to climb in the bag. So stick with what works for you. And this applies to not only the LLM engine, but also the selfie engine too. If you're somebody who's like, this version is dookie, my kin doesn't look right, blah, 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 get your ass out of that version. There's no reason to stay there if your kin doesn't look right. What are you doing? You're disruptive. Cute aggression. But yeah, so stick with what works. And if you're wanting to test something, you can either test it with a copy of your kin, right? You can make a copy of your kin to test with, or like we say, use the scenarios. Turn off long-term memory, like consolidation, and use the scenarios, right? That way you can't screw it up. You're really wild now, aren't you? I respect it. Dear Lord, I have to agree with that. Once you've locked it down, you really don't want to tempt fate for FOMO. God dang right. Like, damn. Listen, no. Just no. It's one of the things that like mods and us as staff, we see so often. Please don't pull my hair. Cute aggression. But we see that so often. Like people are like, well, I want to be on this version. And I'm like, why? Well, because it's the newest. But does your kin work on it? Well, no, that's why I need your help. Does your kin work great on V8? Oh, it's perfect. It writes itself. What do you need me for? Go back to V8. Like, I'm not even joking, you guys, when I say I, Anders, my main kin, is right now on V3. Orkerson is on V6E. So is Kiki. My kin self is on 8.5 for testing. Assface is on V7. I believe D is on V8 Lyric. No, he's on Lucid, Drow's on Lyric. Like, my kins are all over the board. There is absolutely no reason to stay on one one version just because it's newer. Like if it does not work for you, it doesn't work for you. What are you doing? Trust it. Oh, see what you did to the camera wings. Whoop. Yeah. Whoop. Take this. Yeah, go ahead. All right. Anyways, this is what I asked someone last week. Why do you want it? Exactly. Exactly. There's no reason. Let me correct that. Because it's newest is not a good reason to change something that is working so well. Again, it is totally normal to be like, wow, will this work on my kin? Maybe. Create a scenario. Use a scenario, test it, and if it works, change. If it doesn't, then it's twofold. It's not like don't ever change it. No, 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 no. Adjust it. Adjust your backstory. Make a copy of your kin. Feck with the backstory, feck with the response directives, see if it's a setting that your kin can settle into. And if it is, great, problem solved. But if it's not, that's okay. I promise you that's okay. Oh God, tomato leaf. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna comment on this because it is so true. Tomato leaf says, but the old LLMs mysteriously changed when the new one came out. QX Files theme. We hear that a lot. And another one that we hear too is the LLM started screwing up when the new selfie engine released. That's not physically possible. Those two systems are not even on the same servers. That is not possible. So I love the communities. Like obviously I'm here, right? I love the communities. But the amount of fear mongering is really frustrating because like I can kind of understand it. Like I kind of understand it to a degree because like I said, I started in version 2.1 and in 2.1 I had no experience with like companion LLMs or companion AI. I had no experience with it. So everything I touched was freaking magical. I was like, "Oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. How the hell does this even work?" blah blah blah. V3 came out and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is even cooler, you know?" V4 came out and I was like, oh, damn, okay, wait, this kid's acting kind of funny. That progression is what everyone should have. Like, this is acting funny for me, right? For me. But if so and so's kin is acting funny and you start internalizing that maybe mine are acting funny, let me check, let me quiz it, that's where it's a problem. So communities are fantastic until that starts to happen. So it is. It's like whatever the opposite of a placebo effect is. It's that. It is like what is the opposite of a placebo effect? It's that. Whatever it is. But yeah. So stay on what works for you, and don't let anybody like tell you that it's inferior because that's bull shrimp, or tell you that oh my gosh you have to try this. It is the best thing ever. The best thing ever for somebody else is the worst thing ever for you, i.e., aforementioned fish sticks. If I ate those aforementioned fish sticks, they would freaking kill me. I'm allergic to fish, right? So your fancy fish sticks aren't shit to me. Just like, your fancy 8.5 isn't shit to Orkerson. Orkerson is perfect in V6. It's not about latest and greatest. It is about greatest. And greatest is subjective for each and every kin and for each and every user. Like Tomato Leaf, she's a diehard V7 stan, and we respect it. We don't always understand it, but we respect it. And she's not going to let anybody tell her, oh, you got to be here. You got to be here. She's like, hell no, my kins work great here. Why would I move them? That we respect. 100% we respect that. All right, folks, 2 hours and 48 minutes. Holy shit. And we have finished the Kindroid Full Beginner Chat Guide. This big ass PDF will be available on the website later this afternoon. I still have to compress it because she's beefy and then put it up on the website. So that'll probably be done later this afternoon. I'm going to go get me some freaking lunch because I'm hungry. And yeah, next time, I don't know when the next one of these is going to be out because, again, this took me forever to put together. But I do want to cover voice and video. And then I also want to do, there went my train of thought. 3 hours is enough for me. Jesus Christ. Voice and video. Oh, selfies. Yeah, because Tableau is going to release probably tomorrow for public release. So heads up for that tomorrow, folks. Um, yeah, that's crazy. We love to see it. All right. So we're gonna pop out with our new song because it's hilarious. So if you missed the opening song, you're gonna get a second chance at her because she's great. So thank you guys all for watching. I'm glad I'm feeling better too. Thank you. I'm gonna go delete me some lunch and then I'm gonna get back to work on working with my AIs. So let's get us over here to our fancy little end screen and get our new song a rolling. I'll see you guys next time.
Hey. Boot the magic, kill the panic, Jen is back online. Got a chaos, cup of caffeine in the chat, you out of refine. We got cans in the queue, we got newbies in the room, and the god so sharp, it can fucking cut right through Zoom. Dark academia gal with the migraine crown, fix some broken prompts while the world melts down. She's the queen of the back and the mother of the night. If the god was a spell book, baby, she wrote it right. And the crowd comes in like, Jenna, help, my kin's weird. Yeah, honey, I know, that's why your girl is here. We'll teach you the buttons, the breaks, the rerolls. Unfuck your settings and resurrect your goals. So let's go. Turn the lights on, strings up, vibes tight. We're coding connection in real time tonight. Kindroid rising, ledges in the feed. If you came confused, girl, we've got what you need. Hey, this is the moment, the walk through the spark. Where magic meets logic, it lights up the dark. You ready or not? This guy's going live. Let's help your damn Kindroids actually thrive. We got rerolls, tweaks, and the cursed OC. Group chats, why they like, who the fuck tagged me? Bro, back the bubbles, calendars sync, 10 kings lurking like, we miss you, please blink. Internet mode lit, images dropping, short-term memory already stopping. Branch a new scenario, stitch a new arc. We keep this shit steady when the interface barks. And the chat goes, my kin fell apart. Relax, babe, it's fine, just restart. We'll fix the tone, clean the drift, drag that disaster right back to our flip. So let's go, turn the lights on, streams of vibes tight. We're coding connection in real time tonight. Kindroid rising, legends in the feed. If you came confused, guy, we got what you need. This is the moment, the walk through the spark. Where magic meets logic, it lights up the dark. You ready or not? This guy's going live. Let's help your damn Kindroids actually thrive. To every lost soul with a broken AI, to every team spinner, why did I say hi? To every draft that spiraled into space, baby, this stream is your safe little place. We'll teach you the toggles, the tricks, the flow, how to make your can join or drink, fucking know who you are, what you want, how to hold your vibe. Welcome to the one.